Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. We are going to throw up a quick video for you guys to watch on how to use Give Butter. Thank you so much. Looking forward to speaking with you shortly.
Good morning, good evening, good night. Thank you so much, wherever you are, for giving me a little bit of time. I am Sir Pamela Kelly, and I am part of the Sacred Order of Paladins, and we are trying to get to Parliament. This is all about the Road to Parliament 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, 50 hours of magic and community. It starts this Friday, May 5th at 5 p.m. Eastern and goes through Sunday, May 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's all to get the Paladins on the road to Parliament, the Parliament of the World's Religions, coming to Chicago this August 2023. We want to be there. We want to represent the pagan community, and we want to help others that are there. But we need your help first. So how do we do this? We're having a telethon, like I said. And the way you can help us out is, well, let me show you. Come to this website, https. Well, I don't need to tell you that part. I need to tell you the good part. givebutter.com/C/Correllians Live. So givebutter.com/C for campaign/Correllians Live. And when you click on it, that's where you get right here, this page. It's a wonderful page because it not only tells you why we're here, but it gives you more information, and it shows you where you can watch Correllians Live Telethon. It shows you all the different places, and also gives you our contact information. The reason you want to keep this page, givebutter.com/C/Correllians Live, is not only does it give you that information, this is how you donate. You can donate now if you'd like to. You see, we've got $70 already, 1% to our $10,000 goal. We definitely need your help. You can donate now, click on the donate and choose an amount. And so I'm just going to give you an example of $10. Now you can credit a team member. We don't get the money, but we just get credit for you donating to us. There I am, but there's all these hardworking paladins here. Or if you don't want to play favorites, I understand. Just go ahead and click none and continue. Then this is where you put your message if you'd like to. From grandma or grandpa. Write your message, upload an image, make a drawing, send us a GIF or a GIF. I don't care what you call it. We would just appreciate your donation. Once you're there with that, you go to the next button, and it'll give you the credit card processing fee. Now, it automatically adds a tip for Give Butter. We'd appreciate you if you gave that tip to Give Butter, because it's a really good platform. But you don't have to. You can go ahead and do other and zero out. But again, we'd like it because Give Butter has been a good platform for us. Right here, we'd love it if we can stay in contact with you. Allow the Correllian Nativist Church to contact me. This is if you want to remain anonymous. You can do hide my name or amount from public view. And then select your payment information. Once you click on that, it's going to show you how much you need, and then it's going to send you to where you put all your information in. So we know how to do that. But that's how you donate. You can do that right now. But what people really want, I know why you're here. You're here for the auction. So right here, overview, right here, auction. We click on the auction. You can already see items that have been loaded. You can already get an idea of things that you want, like a 15-minute tarot reading with First Priest, Most Reverend Phoenix Coffin Williams. Who wouldn't want that? I want that. Well, you can't bid on these yet. You have to wait till the bidding opens when we start the telethon on May 5th at 5 p.m. Eastern. But you can add it to the calendar. You can add it to a calendar so you know when you can come back and start bidding on items like, look at that, a chainmail pentacle wall hanging, all sorts of jewelry, books. I really love this. I'm probably, you and I are probably going to be in a bidding war for one of these. So join me back later. But right now you can register to bid. That's what this whole video here is about. You can register to bid, so you'll be ready to go first thing as soon as we open the bidding on Friday. So click on register to bid. It's going to bring you to the page where, you know, the information, what it's going to ask you, your first and last name. This can be your magical name. This can be whatever you want it to be. This is the it's not as important what is here. But once you do have to put a phone number in, found that out because I tried to zero it out. But once you get that set up, it's going to ask you to verify your email, and then you continue setting up your profile. Now, this is where you put your information in for your credit card and your payment method. So you're going to have to use, this is where you're going to have to use the name that's on your credit card. And again, this goes to Give Butter. This isn't going to go to me. You put your information there, fill it out. And once you save and continue here, you're set. You have an account and you can come back here and start bidding. It is that easy. Ah, man, look at all this stuff. And there's going to be even more. I'm looking forward to it. 50 hours of magic, community, music, guests, Christopher Penzak, Selena Fox, Byron Ballard. I don't want to tell you all the guests. It's a surprise. The Red Album. Have you heard about the Red Album? Don't worry, you're going to hear about the Red Album. So be back to join us for 50 hours of magic and community starting this Friday, May 5th. And thank you for supporting us on our road to the Parliament. We're really looking forward to this weekend. So see you then. Have a wonderful time. Have a wonderful night, morning, whatever it is, wherever you're at. Thank you so much for joining me.
And we are here at the 9 o'clock hour of the 50-hour telethon for the Correllians live. We're going to bring on our guest, Byron Ballard. And Byron, can you speak, please? Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Mercury, you will not win, darn it.
Mercury Retro will not defeat us.
Oh
Y'all,
my goodness.
you don't know what the last 25 minutes have been like. Oh,
Disastrous. Like, oh my God, what was happening?
all the magic, all the magic.
Just
Phone,
wrestling.
computer.
Okay.
I was ready to go get my tablet and try that.
Oh. I didn't even know you had a tablet. That's a good idea for the future.
I like the technology.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. It is great to be here.
Oh, and it is great to have you here, Byron. I just want to encourage everyone in the chat to please send us all of your questions in the chat. And we will bring them up in the lower third down here as we go along. Byron, you and I, we go a little bit ways back. Why don't you introduce yourself just with a little, couple minute, what, who are you and what do you do?
Is that you wanting to see my papers? What?
No. No, we are not like that.
I think most of you know who I am. I'm Byron Ballard. I'm a witch and a priestess and a writer. And do I have to see this private chat? Are you saying anything to me I need to see?
No. You can minimize it.
Thank you. Every time I minimize it, it pops back up because with the private chat, I can't see you, Liz.
Right. So. Exactly. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm a priestess. I am a witch. I'm a writer. I'm a farmer. I'm a bon vivant girl about town. I am at festivals. I'm at conferences. I am a mom and a gardener and all that stuff. I'm all that stuff. I'm all the things.
Excellent. And I know that you just got back from, oh gosh, I blanked. Where was it from that you just returned from on your roundabout? You do this traveling tour.
Yeah, I just got back from a tour of Tennessee, Georgia, Florida.
Okay.
But before that, 3 days before that, I was, at the beginning of the month of April, I was in Florida previously and had just gotten back from Scotland. So
Oh, yes.
I've been on the road kind of nonstop since the middle of March.
Wow. Oh my goodness, what an adventurous life you lead. And so you're here, right, as my guest today, and we're going to be talking about circles on the ground.
Mm,
Now, for folks who don't know, Byron talks a lot about making circles on the ground. What
I
what
do.
are what do you mean by circles on the ground? Let's really dig into this so we can
Oh,
get to the secondary part of
excellent.
our little discussion here in the title.
Well, those of you who have seen me in any of the places that I've gone, and Liz, I also want to do a shout out to where you and I met, which was the Heartland Festival.
Yes.
And this year is the last year of
Yeah,
that
it
festival.
is.
So I want to give, big love and a shout out to all the people who created that for so many years. And we are seeing the results of, I think, not only the years of COVID that shut so much stuff
Mhm.
down, but we're also seeing the growth in the pagan community, pagan heathen communities, and how they are changing. And certainly the demographic for a lot of these places is an older demographic,
Mhm.
and we are getting less happy about camping.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot more of that as we go, I guess. Excuse me for the blinkiness, but the oak trees are now blooming
Oh.
and the pollen is in my eyes. So when I told you earlier, I've got to do a couple things before I check in. It was I looked like Frankenfurter at the end of Rocky Horror because I'd been rubbing my eyes and my black eyeliner
Oh,
was off. And I
you.
thought, well, maybe I'll tidy up a little
Oh,
bit.
you poor dear. Oh my
It's the
goodness.
oak trees. The oak trees know that I love them
Yes.
and they love me back and they want me to have their babies, but I'm not a
You're not an
tree.
oak tree.
So I can't help them. But they're all up my nose.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so we met at Heartland and it was just
We did.
the best festival that I have ever been to. Now, I have
Really?
yes, absolutely. I've only been to like a couple of handfuls, but
Oh,
I
okay.
I've been to HPF twice, and by far the best. The people there, the classes are amazing. The land.
The land is
Oh,
really wonderful.
it's just
Yeah, I love Gaia.
it's just so amazing. Gaia and I read earlier on Facebook that they're gonna think about like doing something else there maybe or like like another group maybe come to Gaia and do something there.
Well,
Um
I think other groups already use
I
Gaia.
think so too. Like
Yeah.
they have other events there throughout the year. They have something called Laid Back, and I think that Gaia Goddess Gathering is still there as well
Mhm.
on
I
that
think so.
land.
Last I heard.
Yeah,
Last I
right,
heard. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Um so yeah, my goodness. So we met and we had just the most wonderful time and we've been
We
friends
did.
pretty much ever since. And I follow all of your shenanigans, everything that you're up to, and it's just amazing and wonderful. I know you.
Shenanigans? I don't know
Shenanigans.
what you're referring
Oh,
to.
never.
Shenanigans? Hmm.
um
Yeah, yeah. So that's where we met, and I just wanted to give big thank yous to the Heartland
of
organizers
course.
and good times, very good times.
Yes, wonderful times
So
indeed.
the concept of circles on the ground is about community building and community weaving,
Mhm.
and it comes from my book, Earthworks, which came
Yes.
out in 2018.
Yes.
And the subtitle of that is Ceremonies in Tower Time. So I want to say most of you have heard about Tower Time. I'm just going to do a brief intro for the few of you who may not have. And Tower Time is what I've named the times that we are living in currently. These are the times when huge top-down systems are collapsing,
Mhm.
and they will pause in their collapse to recalibrate and then collapse a little
Right.
more. And I call these systems by their oldest name. I call them patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to say up front, and I've been saying this for 40 years, patriarchy is not about men. Patriarchy is about systems.
Yes.
So for men to feel shame or guilt or anger about the use of that word, I need for you to understand that I'm talking about systems and system management.
Right.
So we have been tied into these top-down systems, hierarchical systems, for probably 6,000
Mm-hmm.
years, according to scholar Gerda Lerner. And those systems they're popular because they are elegant and efficient,
Mm.
and we love some efficiency. So because we've kept those systems in place for so long, when they collapse, and they've collapsed before many times, we tend to rebuild the same system.
Right.
We think, oh, well, whoever was at the top, whoever was the emperor or the king or the dictator, well, that was just a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to replace that bad person with someone who is more to our taste.
Right. And then it
The
just
problem, yeah,
happens
the problem
all
is
over
not the
again.
top. The problem is not the person. The problem is the
Is the
system.
system. Right.
Because it's a system that requires a lot of people to hold it up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't benefit any of the people who are holding it up, not
Right.
in any real
No,
way.
no. And
So,
we can see that in
mhm,
today, like it is so difficult for those of us holding up the system here in the United States to actually get anywhere. There's this mythology that if you just work hard enough, if you just save enough money, if you just give it all you've got every single day, then you'll rise to the cream of the crop kind of thing. And you and I both know that that's just not the case at all.
no,
So
no.
so how do we prepare for the crash, for the final
Well,
crash of
we have to have new systems in
mhm,
place now, right now. We should have done it 10
10
years
years
ago.
ago, but the second best time is
But
now.
yeah, it was like planting a tree. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. The second best time is
Is now.
today.
Right.
So we need to figure out, and the metaphor I use is circles on the ground. So we flatten this hierarchy, we flatten this pyramid like this,
Mhm.
and then we begin to create egalitarian systems, which all of us know how to do. We do. But it has to start with you. It has to start with your hearth, your family, and then spiral out into your community. So the circles on the ground are systems of support, they are systems of cooperation, they are systems in which human being sized people can flourish.
Right.
And we do that by being very conscious about relocating everything we can possibly relocate into where we are. Because it was lovely when we could cheaply ship in lettuce from California to North
Oh,
Carolina
right.
because because gas was relatively cheap
Mhm.
and or they came by train or whatever. Well, that's not true anymore,
No.
and it's never going to be true
No.
again.
And
And and we have to learn to grow the things in our growing zone
mhm.
that we eat.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yep.
The idea that I can go to a grocery store and I can pick up a bag of garlic from
Mhm.
China
Mhm.
more cheaply than I can buy locally grown garlic is an obscenity.
I completely agree with you, Byron. And me and my mom last year or the year before, we started a garden. We have a 40-foot by 20-foot plot, and we have grown
A good
some of
size.
the most delicious food. It is so rich. It is so packed, filled with love. Like you can literally just feel the earth giving us the love back. And it does this push pull like all magic does, right? It starts with the push outward and then it comes back like a tidal wave. Um, I just wanted to mention, like, I know that there's some folks out there who get scared when we use terms like egalitarian. So I just want to clear up the air in case there might be some folks out there listening to us today. Egalitarian is believing in the principle or relating to the principle that everyone is equal. All people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunity. So basically, like, you give everybody a fair share of the pie, like a fair share of what is going around in the local area. And when we think of circles on the ground, think about your community. At least this is what I do. Think about your community and then think about the community next to yours. It can really butt up, like, right to the line, or overlap even. So this is kind of where things like co-ops come in, isn't it?
Yes, yes,
Do you have any, like, local co-ops in your area that you would like to
we
talk
do.
about?
We do. And we have mutual aid
Mm,
societies, and that's a wonderful thing. If you don't know about mutual aid, please look that up. But it's more than just relocalizing for you and your community.
Okay.
Because look at this circle on the ground.
Mhm.
So we relocalize all we can. If you live in a community that where you don't have a backyard, you can't grow your own food. We're not asking people to be preppers in that way, but look for a community garden
Mhm.
where you can contribute.
Right.
Look for other places you can contribute. It's not just about food, but food, shelter, clean water, breathable air, all of that. Those are things that humans cannot do without.
Right.
Humans, for thousands, thousands and thousands of years, did without petroleum. We
Oh,
didn't have it.
absolutely.
We had other things, other ways to do all the things that we did. So we have to think. And I know sometimes we don't want to think.
Mhm.
We want something to be pre-digested and spit
Mhm.
out for us, like baby birds, so that we can go, oh, yeah, no, that's the thing.
Right.
That's the thing. But what I'm asking my communities, my beautiful communities, to do is to think for themselves and to think about hard things and to think about the future and to think about the future in a way that is where you're using your processes of discernment
Mhm.
in the zone in which you live, the land with which you dwell is the way I call it.
Mhm.
So if it all comes out from your hearth, and the hearth is a powerful image, both in pagan communities and in folklore at large.
Mhm.
The hearth is the place where everything begins, and it's often the place where everything ends. It's that beautiful centralized place. The hearth is also the heart. It's the heart of the home, heart of the community. So you grow out from your immediate household to encompass your neighborhood,
Mhm.
to encompass your town, your county, your state, your nation, the world. And the way we do that with circles on the ground is that they, in fact, do have to connect.
Right.
So you're not in your bubble.
Mhm.
You use that as an image to pull everything in, to pull everyone into a
I
circle.
see.
And then you link your circle to the circle next door.
I see.
And then you link it to the circle next door to that. A circle is strong. Two circles together are stronger, but more circles together are chain mail,
Yes.
and that's the
Oh
strongest.
man, I just got chills, like, right down my arm as soon as you said circles together are strong. And it
Yes.
just went through me
Yeah,
like a wave. And oh my goodness, everybody knows what chainmail looks like. Everybody knows that used to be used literally as armor to stop bows and
exactly.
arrows and to stop, all kinds of other weapons being used against them, swords and knives and everything like that. And so yeah, so it's not only like the big circle, it's the circles within the circles within the circles within.
Yeah. And most pagan people are used to the form of the circle. It's something that is both literal for many of us in our celebrations,
Hmm.
but it is also a symbolic place where everyone stands in a circle equally. There's not a point to the circle that it's the most important place and everybody else has to fall away.
Right.
We stand, and I say this in my full moon ceremonies and dark moon ceremonies, that we stand shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip,
Hip to hip.
and calf to wheel.
Mm.
And that's how circles work for us
Mhm.
as a both a symbol and as the literal place where we celebrate our connection to the earth itself, but also to divinity and to each other and to our ancestors. So the
Absolutely.
circle is a powerful metaphor, but it's not just a metaphor. We actually spend time standing in circles. Last night we did the rededication of our community garden.
That's great.
And in order to do that, here is a section of my community, 30 members of my
Mhm.
community. They're not my pagan community, they're my neighbors.
Mhm.
They're the people that live on either side of me. We all came together in the community garden. Everybody brought food because that's what we do. Sharing food is one of the most sacred of acts.
Yes.
And we began by doing a welcome and a blessing. And we stood in a circle
Mhm.
because that's what we do.
Yeah.
That is the natural way for all of us to be shoulder to shoulder,
Mhm.
hip to hip, calf to wheel.
And you know,
So
it does make
um,
in my eyes it makes the most sense because in a circle everybody can see each other
yes, yes,
and everybody can see each other equally without having to go, or like ducking and weaving, in a big crowd and you're just looking at
yeah.
some central stage or something. Um, so I do want to say hello to Pam. She did say hello to us. So hi Pam in out
Hi,
there, and I think
Pam.
she's commenting from YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. Um, and I do want to give us just a little bit of a shout out to Sacred Path Pagans because just a few minutes ago, right after we got here, we got a donation from them of $45, bringing this telethon to 675 out of $10,000.
Woohoo!
Speaking of circles on the ground, like this is a circle. We
Yes,
have had 17 supporters say, you know what, Paladins, go do the things. And I am so appreciative of that. And all of my life has been like this, where I try to give back as much as I can. And I'm trying to work on the inward practice because priestessing is also an inward practice. Um and I've had to learn that a few dozen times along the way. The universe keeps trying to like tell me to slow down and all this kind of thing, but you can see how well I've been told that after this I can't do another big project for a year. But this isn't over yet. So I guess after Parliament I'll have to think about slowing down just a wee bit. But that doesn't mean that I can't work in my own local circles, right? And
exactly.
the idea that I can just do a few little local things here a year and still make an impact is it means so much to me that not only can I do these kinds of things, but I can also do these kinds of things. And Byron, I want to say that like you are one of the best people that I know for this kind of conversation and this kind of work because you've been doing it for 40 years. So you've been around the block a few times. You know what it
I
looks
have.
like. What other kinds of things can we do besides the community gardens, besides the mutual aid societies, besides the well, I mean, if you have like a lot of space in your house, you might do things like pickling and canning and jarring and all that kind of stuff, which is great as well.
the the sky and the ground are limitless to what we can do. We are creative people. Pagan folks, heathen folks, we're so creative. There's so many ways you can do things. Like tonight,
Hmm.
and in this time, you are bringing a whole bunch of people together
Hmm.
to raise money. And and a dollar is important.
Yes.
$10, $45.
Mhm.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yes.
$1,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000.
Mhm.
We do that step by step and bite by bite.
That's right.
There is a truism in the nonprofit world. How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a
You eat it a
time.
bite at a time.
Oh man,
Exactly.
I heard that years ago, and that has been my like driving force every day as my team has been going forward, as Brian, who's like my number one right hand guy, has been like, just giving me list by list, day by day, and he has his markers and he goes dot 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 dot, write down that list. How do you do it? One line at a time, just keep going.
Yeah.
And
Lately for me, I've been
Mhm.
using the phrase slow and steady wins the race,
yes,
because it's
yes,
not, it is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
right.
We are talking about building communities in ways we've never built them before.
Mhm.
We're talking about building communities on the astral,
Yes.
virtual
Yep.
communities. We're talking about literal communities. We're talking about spiritual communities. And when we're talking about the people who live next door to you,
Mhm.
who chances are either are Christian or were raised Christian. And how do we begin to interact with them? And one of the first things we have to do is figure out how we interact with each other.
Right.
Because we like nothing better than to fight about tiny points of protocol.
Yep.
We love to have pissing contests about who knows who and
Right.
who knows more than who.
Right.
We love to be the gatekeepers and go, no, you cannot do this practice. You cannot do this. You cannot believe this. These gods are not for you. We love doing that. And if I could give my beloved communities any piece of advice, it would be to mind your own damn business and do your work.
Ooh, girl. Ooh, girl. Look at that look. She means it, folks, when she gets that look in her eye. That Appalachian granny look, that stern
Well,
corner of your
people
eye.
joke with me now wherever I go. They joke with me about, yeah, I know, do the work, do the work, do the work. But we are intellectual people. We're creatives, absolutely, but we're also intellectual people. Oh my goodness, we love a book.
Of course.
And I'm glad about that because I'm a writer.
You sell books, right? Yeah.
But the next step always to getting information is to process it and utilize it as you can.
Right.
So we are living in a time now. I had lunch with friends today where we are actually talking about child labor again. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
It was hard.
Appalled. Okay,
It's hard enough to believe that women no longer have full physical autonomy.
Right. In many of the states in this country. Too many.
In those states.
Too many.
It's just a matter of certain people taking over your General Assembly and you are done.
Yep.
So we don't have that. We no longer have that. Who in the world could have thought that was possible?
Well, with the whole child labor laws thing, like there's only one word that I could use to describe it, Byron, and that is appalling. It is appalling. It is disgusting.
Yep.
That
it is.
That like 5 or 6 decades ago, we had children working in disgusting, filthy, unsafe environments from the age of like 9 and 10.
Yeah.
And then we applied OSHA, and then we got the 40-hour work week, or was it vice versa? I can't remember. But you know the drill. OSHA, 40-hour work week, get kids out of work and in school so that they can grow up and be children. But see, then there's the other rub, right? Is that the school system, at least as it stands right now in a lot of places, is designed to do what? It's designed to put you at the pace of a 45-minute bell. And that's what I did not like about school, was that it was work for 45 minutes, take a break, work for an hour, take a break, work for another 45 minutes, take another break, have your lunch, half an hour. You hardly get any time to eat, right?
Well, and when we talk about these collapsing systems, that is another system that's
Yep.
collapsing. Public education was one of the most important drivers of our founders.
hmm
Because before that, and in so many places in the world, you have to pay to have your child
Right.
educated. Big bucks
Right.
that most poor people can't
Nope.
afford. So they don't educate girl children because what the hell good is that?
Right.
They find the smartest of the boys, and that's where they put everything.
Right.
Our founders, who were people who were imperfect in so many ways,
Of course.
but
Right.
one thing, primary thing they wanted was the idea that children could get a free education, public education. And
Right.
we have seen the system that is public education, we've seen it defunded, unfunded, badly funded, and
hmm
we have seen departments of education in state after state tinkering with the basic process of teaching children.
And the basic things that children can and cannot learn.
Right.
And let's let not even what they can and cannot learn, but like you're taking away Head Start, you're taking away things like the music program and the shop programs, and like art, and it's getting back to the whole reading, writing, arithmetic. That's all you need to know, which is
Right.
ridiculous. We
Well,
need the humanities, we need the sciences, we need the culture, so that kids and people, because kids are small people, right? So that they can grow up
kids are
up
people. Yeah.
and that's something that I really don't think. Let me just go off script here for a minute. I don't think that people understand that kids are not robots. They are people. They are learning how to be better people every day, and each and every one of us in society is part of the village that raises those people up into well adjusted, well mannered adults who have a grasp on their history, who have a grasp on, hey, I might want to be an artist one day. Oh, I'm pretty good with tools. I might want to, get into mechanics or get into lumber, building, like architecture, or welding, or any kind of physical labor that is so undervalued but so needed, and that they're just taking away the opportunity for those kids to learn this before they grow up age 18. Okay, think, out the door you go, bye.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
reeling myself in here slightly.
No, but you're exactly right. So we have to reformat education.
Mhm.
The reason all of this seems so daunting and so difficult is that we are talking about recreating systems
Right.
that we haven't had to create before. So
And
and it's hands on. So that you were
right.
saying, so what are the other things we can do? There is so much work to do that whatever you can do, your work is more than welcome.
Mhm.
Many hands make light
Make
work,
light
as
work.
we've
Oh,
been,
I love that
as
phrase.
we're doing our truisms.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that even as the tower is collapsing, that the people who are willing to work inside of the tower as it is being brought down can go in and help to ease the transition, I guess would be the nicest way to
Yeah,
put it.
as much as we can, and for
Right.
those people who can do that. But
Right.
I was working with a group, and I'm not going to call their name because I love them,
Mhm.
but they just, as far as I could tell, they got the wrong end of the stick on this. But
Mhm.
they said we want to do a big magical action about the tower, and we would love for you to be involved. And I was like, oh, absolutely, let's do it, do
Mhm.
it, do it. As it turned out, the leader of this group, the whole point of the work that they wanted to do, they wanted to put buttresses around the tower to hold it up. And I went,
What?
No, no.
No.
We're taking the power down. We're not
Yeah.
going to hold it up. We're going to take it down. But I think, to be fair, what the leadership of that group was thinking was just what you said, is that if we can ease this transition a little bit, but I just don't think there's any ease to happen at this point. There's
Yeah, probably not at this
no,
phase. You're
no,
probably right.
we've gone too far with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and and it is easy enough to reach your hand out to someone that is like you.
Hmm.
And face it, we are the island of misfit toys. We just
Yeah.
are. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that is our superpower. We are not the group of people who got to sit with the cool kids in the cafeteria.
Oh no. Oh,
We
absolutely not.
so we don't have to worry about thinking outside the box because we were never in the box.
Right.
So
Oh
our
my.
level of thought about how we can change any of this, we're already 3 steps ahead.
Wow.
But we
Byron.
need to encourage people to think long term and short term,
Right.
and to
Right.
think about, okay, what is happening right now? Circles on the ground. What is happening in my community right now?
Hmm.
A thing that I always am talking about is school lunch debt.
Yes. Wipe
It's a
that
horrifying thing. If
frickin'
you
slate clean. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
if you don't know about what that is, uh, do a Google search.
That's all you have to do. Watch a
Yeah,
couple of YouTube videos and you'll be caught up real quick.
yeah, it's horrifying. So if you want to do something to help in your community,
Hmm.
yes, you can grow a garden. You can teach people to grow food. You can teach people to can and process food, and all of those things. Very important, very valid. But if your group wants to do something different than that, there is so much to do.
Hmm.
One of the basic things is you can do a food drive and donate that to an existing food pantry. You
Hmm.
don't have to start a food pantry.
Right.
Do a food drive,
Use what
donate it.
use what's already in place.
Right.
And
We often do that for pagan pride events.
okay.
We have
Oh
a food
yeah.
drive, and then the
Yeah.
food goes to wherever the food goes.
Right.
There is so much we can do, and one of the things that I talk about in the book, and that I preach the gospel of at almost every festival, is that we are in a time, sorry, oak pollen, we are in a
Hmm.
time where things that we thought were settled are not settled. Like we were just
Right.
talking about with
Yes.
child labor. So
Yes.
much is not settled. We know that now that Dobbs has gone through and we
Hmm.
no longer have Roe, that the next thing is going to be birth control.
Oh yes. Oh,
and
and they're already coming for that, by the way,
and
because
and gay marriage,
yes. Oh,
and
absolutely.
and and
And
and
it's just like that. It's just like that poem. I can't remember the author of the poem. I wish I could off the top of my brain.
Niemöller.
Yes.
Yes,
And it goes something like, at first they came for XYZ group,
right.
but it
And then
wasn't
when they came for
affecting me.
me, there was
And
nobody.
then
There was
there was
just me.
nobody.
Yeah,
And on and on and on. And to go slightly to slightly like wheel back, like to how to get involved in these kind of things and how to get your neighbors in. I was thinking about this. How do you talk to people that are different from you? You bake them a casserole. You knock on their door, you say, "Hi neighbor." If it's generally safe in your area for you to do so anyway.
yeah,
Because there's been a lot of stuff that honestly terrifies me in the news lately about knocking on doors or ringing doorbells.
yeah.
But if it's generally safe for you to do so, go, "Hi neighbor, I made you this casserole. I hope you like it. My name is so and so. I do this, and this. If you ever need help with anything, just let me know."
And you can even start simpler than that
Okay,
by waving to your neighbors when you see them.
there you go.
Just go,
That's
"Hey, good to see you."
right. Yeah, yeah.
By speaking, if they're walking their dog and you're going to get the mail, you
Hmm.
go, "Oh, what's a puppy's name?" So
Right.
you just start to be neighborly. I know it's an
Yes.
old-fashioned concept, but try to be neighborly with your neighbors.
The art of being neighborly. That
Yeah,
should be a
and
book.
see how that works. And And yes, we can do things together as a neighborhood.
Mhm.
We can choose to do that. And that's
Right.
wonderful.
Yeah.
But what's happening, what I'm seeing happening again and again, are people just getting burned out
Right.
because there's so much. So now we have to think about what children, what 10-year-olds are working at McDonald's.
Mhm.
Hmm? Who?
Yeah.
Who's working at McDonald's? How old are they? We have to
Right.
think about a multitude of things we thought we didn't have to think about anymore.
Nope.
So I have a concept that's also in the book,
Okay. Mhm.
and the book is called Earthworks. It's generally available. If they don't have it at your indie bookstore, you can have them order it. The other concept is to pick three because we can't do it all. We can't do it as much as you want to. You cannot do it all because what will happen is that you will burn out and we will lose you.
Yeah.
So pick the three. And if you can't do three, do two. And if
Mhm.
you can't do two, do one. Pick out that thing that when it comes across your social media scroll or when you hear it about it on public television or public radio, your immediate thought is, no, this shall not happen, not on my watch. And take that to your heart and let everything go that's not that. And I know it's hard to do.
Yeah.
I know it's hard because we want to help with all the things
With
that need to be
everything,
done, but
right?
we simply can't. We
No,
can't.
you
No
you
one can.
right. We're just each one person. But
Right.
like if each of us does 3, then it does that circle within
It
circle
does,
thing
doesn't it?
all
But
over again.
say, for instance, you decide the
Mhm.
important thing for you is water and
Oh
where
god.
water comes from. And is it legal to collect rainwater where you are? So
Right.
you could actually become the expert in your community about all things water. You could
Right.
know about the major waterways in your
Uh-huh.
county.
Mhm.
You could talk to the Metropolitan Sewerage District people, the
Mhm.
Water Authority people. You can take them a muffin basket on Fridays, and you can find out when the test results come in. You can find out about the parts per million. You can be
Right.
the expert on that in your community. It's
Right.
one thing. You can
Right.
be the expert on water quality in your community.
Right. And you can find
Yeah.
out things like who's allowed to dump their water into the local waterways.
And what crap
And
is being
what
dumped into the
is
local
there
waterway.
being dumped into the
Exactly.
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 And,
Exactly.
and that's because that person will have chosen only that thing. I'm going to be
Right.
the water expert, the
Right.
water expert. So if you choose one or two or three things,
Mhm.
those things can become the driving force for you as you help do the change that we have to do if
Right.
our species is going to survive on the planet. Planet's
Yeah.
going to survive.
Oh,
My
oh, absolutely. There is no doubt about this planet just plowing us over if that's what
yeah.
we
I
leave
mean,
for ourselves,
it
right?
sounds silly that the hopeful thing that I sometimes hold to my heart is that after the Permian extinction, when 97.8% of life on the planet perished, after
It's
that we had the Triassic and the Jurassic period.
right.
La! I mean, we
Ta-da!
won't
We've
see
been
that.
through this before.
Like we won't see that.
No.
But
No.
but as I say in Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Mhm. Mhm.
But let's not do that. Let's not drive
No.
our species to extinction just because we're stubborn rat bastards. Let's
Right.
not do that.
Right. Let us turn the tide
Yeah.
using our big brains and our strong muscles
And our
and
big heart
our big hearts, right?
and our big
And our
golden
sense
heart.
for community
Yeah.
and wanting. You know, one of the most heartbreaking things that I think of when I think of all of this, okay, this top down triangular structure that we're talking about, right? Is that the nuclear family. I am Italian. In my family, we were living right next door to my grandma.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I would walk to her house every single day from high school and stay at her house until mom came home at 6 p.m. And I got to see my grandma and my auntie every single day growing up from like 7th or 8th grade all through high school. And the idea that people don't have grandmas and aunties and uncles to help them raise their kids, they're doing it all by themselves. What happens if that mother gets sick? What happens if that single dad gets sick? What happens to the kids? Who's feeding them? Who's clothing them? Who's making sure that they go to bed on time? Who's brushing their teeth at night?
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the worst things, the most community breaking things, was
Yeah.
to say, oh, every house with a picket fence, a mom,
Mm-hmm.
a dad, a dog, and a kid, or
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the little things that we can do, right? I'm all about, start small, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you see a mom in a grocery store holding her crying child, don't shame her. Go up to her and say, "Can I help you? It seems that you have a lot on your plate. And I want to, can I give you a minute? Do you mind if I hold your kid, or can I hold their hand if they're, knee-high to grasshopper?" And just be kind. And if you see a person in a checkout lane who's short $5 or $10, $20 even, $30 even, and they're just trying to buy diapers and diaper cream and formula, pay it forward. Because one day that could be you trying to buy whatever and just not having enough. And I'm sorry, this makes me, because
It's yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Um. Yeah. And that's a good scenario. There's a
Hmm.
lot of moms, like if you came up to me and my child was freaking out at the grocery store and I didn't know you and you said let me hold your baby, I'm pretty
Well,
sure I wouldn't do that. But but
I was using a for example. I mean,
yes,
obviously,
yeah.
use your best judgment. Hey,
But
ma'am, are you okay? It looks like
but
you're kind of struggling. And
what
then,
what but what I loved about what you said was don't
mhm,
shame her. Don't shame her. Just your buggy's going past her buggy and you can give her the sad, oh yeah, girl, I know what you're
mhm,
going through sort of smile,
mhm.
and maybe distract the baby with a would you thing or whatever.
Exactly, exactly.
But
You
we
know,
we walk through the world often as Americans cursing things. I know I
oh,
was in stuck in traffic for way too long today,
mhm,
and I was
mhm,
like, "Ah." But we can also, given who we are and what we can also walk through the world blessing things and people. We can. It takes a little torque of the mindset so that when you see that tired older person who is would love to not be the checkout girl at the age of
mhm,
64, but she has to have that job because that's how you have to make ends meet.
right.
Instead of being impatient with that person, you can bless them from with every item you put on the conveyor belt at the grocery store. You can say the next person who touches this gets the big blessing. It's like
Mhm.
bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. And you don't even have to say that out loud. You
Oh
can
no,
just be the person who walks through the world blessing people and things,
right.
and it's going to change how you feel about the world. It's going to change how you feel about yourself. And I'm not talking about being all light and love, because anybody who knows me knows that I would just as soon hex you into next week and give you a hug if you're being a jackass. But there are people in the world whose lives you change by a simple
Mhm.
smile and an act of kindness. And that
Yes,
is the truth.
absolute
And
truth.
how many times have your spirits been lifted when some woman or some person who passes you goes, wow, that color is really good on you. You should wear it a lot.
Amazing.
I
It
mean, it
just,
makes all the difference.
every time somebody compliments my hair or my wrap or my new blouse or whatever, it doesn't matter who it is. I'm just like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Because they noticed it about me, right?
Yeah.
And like, as long as it's done in a respectful, not creepy fashion,
Yeah.
then I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm on the moon right now. That's right. I
And
did this wrap good today.
and thanking people for things.
Oh yes.
And
Oh, always.
I want to encourage anybody and everybody, if there is someone who's important in your life, who inspires you, who every time you see their post on Facebook, you go, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell them. Tell
Oh,
them.
absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
we are in a time now where people are dropping like flies. They are. I mean, on my Facebook feed alone, oh, my mother died, my father died, my best friend died, people die. So don't let the people that you love die without you saying, you've inspired me every step of the way. Every bit of the way I think about you. Tell them. Tell them. Don't be all weepy and sad once they're gone. Tell them now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when's the best time to start building a relationship with your mother or your father or your grandfather or your grandmother?
Before they're
20
dead.
20 years ago was the best time.
Yeah.
Today is the next best time.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Because otherwise you're going to be doing the ancestor thing, which is
Right.
lovely. I highly recommend the ancestor thing, but it's not the same as sitting with your grandmother at the table.
It's
It is
not.
not.
It's really not.
Yeah.
As a person who has been on both ends of that, and I know that you probably have too, with your aunties and your grandma and your mom and your dad and everything.
Yeah.
Having my Nana here in the physical, talking to her and listening and making cookies and doing the whole Christmas thing and doing the whole holiday and gift giving thing was great. And now
Yeah.
she's dead. So it's a lot different. It's like, Nana, I really wish that you were here right now. What would you tell me to do? And
Yeah.
then listening really hard, hoping for that whisper. Right? Got a couple of comments in the chat room.
I know, and I
And
don't have my glasses on, so
oh, it's fine. I'll pull up a few for us. Let's see. So we have a hello from Ed. We have a message from Kai here. Let's see. She says, "Mom or dad with no support gets sick and they accuse them of abuse or neglect and try to take those kids away." That is the
yeah,
truth.
good point.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have another person here harkening back. Jim, our economy is set up to break that nuclear family down, sadly. So glad our daughter has her mama living with us. Jim, that's a really great point. My uncle, my mom's brother, lived with us for like 8 years, something like, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And having my uncle there helped my mom so much raising 3 kids. And then Lori, of course, I think I showed this before. She said, to the whole paying it forward at the grocery line, or as Kai said later on, in the Starbucks line or in the McDonald's or Burger King or wherever you're at line, paying it forward is the thing to do. And then, another thing, Kai, you bring it up here, is a little support goes a long way, even if it's, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
One thing also is, you're doing great, Mom. Just like you said about complimenting the shirt or the hair,
right,
or the necklace or the color. And good day to you also, Steve McGoniel from Australia. Oh my goodness.
Well, good day, Steve.
It's so good to hear from you out there in Australia. How is your day?
Steve is coming to us from the future.
Yes, yes, he is. I actually That's one of my favorite things to talk about with people is that, like, all you got to do to go into the future and to like time travel is just talk to somebody from across the pond. Or even like talk to somebody in you want to do time travel? Talk to somebody in California if you live on the East Coast. They're 3 hours behind us. We're the time travelers then.
That's right. We're
Let's see.
speaking to you from the future.
That is correct. The future. Oh yes, let's see here. All right, so we're still at the 675 marker and it is 10:01. Guess what that means for you and me, Byron? We have 1 hour left to go. But we have to take a wee bit of a donation break
Okay.
because we can,
Everybody, dig deep, dig deep.
yes, dig deep
We're going
into
to
your
the
pockets.
Parliament.
We are. And it's going to be amazing.
It is. It's terrifying and amazing.
Clink. Take a drink. And then we will be right back after this. If I can load the button here. Let's see, which one do I want to use? I think I'll use donation break number 2. See you in about 5 minutes, folks.
You're watching the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. The team here would like to thank you for all of your support in assisting us in bringing a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois, August of this year. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist with the basic needs of housing, food, and travel expenses. Here are some words from the members of the event team on why it is important that we reach that goal.
I'm Sir Brian John Ellicott, member of the Sacred Order of Paladins, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about the Road to Parliament 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. 50 hours of magic and community. We are here to ask for your help as we send a contingent to Parliament of World Religions in Chicago, Illinois, this August in 2023. We're going to give voice to you, to our community, during these next 50 plus hours to help raise our goal of $10,000 so that we can supply housing and food for the Correllian Nativist tradition members who are going to Parliament this year. And we humbly ask that you continue to donate and bid on our auction, get tarot readings and other divinational readings from our readers over in Divination Alley. And I again want to thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you about the Paladins and why our telethon participation, your telethon participation is vitally important to our participation in Parliament in Chicago this August. Our attendance is vitally important. Now more than ever, we see the need for our freedoms and human rights to be defended and preserved. And as pagans, we deserve a seat at the table for those conversations. And the best way you can do to help us is to donate, bid on auction items, and get divination readings. I am offering readings this weekend over in Divination Alley. The link is below. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
One of the best things about Parliament is one of the best things that we need in our society, which is unity, compassion, and fellowship, which is something I'm extremely looking forward to. And I hope that this will be inspiration for the future and helping us to be more as one in a community. So join us, continue to join us. Thank you for sharing and liking our posts, and please continue to sponsor us.
Hi, I'm Reverend Mary Hawk, and I am a member of the Sacred Order of the Paladins. Why are we going to the 2023 Parliament of World's Religions? Because representation matters. It's important that pagans be there to show that we are a growing tradition, that we are a viable religion, and we need to take our seat among other world religions.
Hello, everybody. I am Reverend Sir Richard Donahue, also known as Cloud the Pagan Rapper, and I'm a member of the Order of Paladins. Now, to help us send a contingent to the Parliament of World Religions, to me, means one thing: community. It's the idea of coming together with multiple faiths for common goals. And it is paramount for the pagan community to have a seat at that table. And I, for one, am very, very proud that we are afforded this opportunity to do so. But to do that, we do need your help. We're trying to raise $10,000 so that we can feed and house the contingency of paladins that will be going to the Parliament. And it's through your help that we're going to be able to get there and represent the community in the best possible way that we can. So please, smash that donate button. All right? Smash that donate button. You can go to Correllians.live to donate. And I want to thank you guys for taking part in the telethon, okay? Check out our auction. Get yourself a reading from Divinationality. Do all of the things that we have provided for you throughout these 3 days, and let us come together in community and achieve our goal and allow us paladins to go and represent us at Parliament. Thank you very much. May you all blessed be. From all of us here at the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, we want to thank you again for your support. Please be sure to check out Divination Alley and get yourself a reading. Or check out our online auction that is overflowing with wonderful craft items, books, and services for sale. Remember, our goal is to raise $10,000, so please help us spread the word about the event, our cause, and be sure to stay tuned for more. So thank you all again, and may you all blessed be. Enjoy the telethon.
Oh no, I muted myself, didn't I? Whoopsie.
Whew.
I'm so sorry. Let's try that again. What
was
you
just-
previously...
I was just doing the private chat to say, Liz,
Oh God.
I can't hear you.
I can't. I muted myself so that when I did the thing, I wouldn't just, talk over Cloud's ending thing. Oh God, I'm so embarrassed. But I'm human. Let's take a look at that again, real quick. And I won't mute myself this time. So let's see here.
Watching the 2023.
Nope, that's not the right one. Silly me. Try this again. Okay, give Butter live display. Share. Here we go. This is what I wanted to do. Byron, look at that green bar filling up there.
I love it. We need more, though.
Yes.
More.
Yes, please give us your dollars, $10, $100. We like Benjamins. I like Benjamins. And let's see that needle move to the right. We like it marching to the right. Thank you to everyone in the chat room. Brenda, I'm sorry I didn't hear you before. I had my captions column up there too so that I could make things like the givebutter.com URL show up there in the lower third. But anyway, thank you to Most Reverend Donald Lewis for $10 about an hour ago. I love you, Uncle Don. And of course, Sacred Path Pagans, $45 about an hour ago. Love to see those couple of donations roll in. And now is the time, folks. Oh, Jim Sayers. Hey, look at that.
Thank
From
you,
my
Jim.
from my mouth to the God's ears to Jim. Thank you so much. That just made my heart really warm right there. I think we recovered from my "Hey Liz, your microphone is muted" little gaff thing. Okay, so enough of me. Back to us, Byron.
Well, and look, I just want to say the whole Mercury retrograde thing again.
Again.
So, what you all don't know is that trying to get me on here tonight, I went from my phone to my computer, back to my phone, back to the computer to finally get everything working. And I mean, I'm a Luddite for sure, but not even I am that much of a Luddite. But it was all just, I'm just blaming it completely on Mercury retrograde. And you not having your mic up, same.
Same.
So
yeah,
we're
absolutely.
doing it.
We're just rolling with the punches, right?
Yeah, we're
like
just doing what we can do. And
water
y'all,
off a duck's back.
y'all, I've been since COVID times. I do all of these in my kitchen because it's the closest place to my router.
Oh,
but
there you go.
I always feel like when I'm on one of these platforms talking or teaching or whatever, I feel like, y'all want a cup of tea? You know, some coffee. I guess I'll make some coffee. I've got it.
Right, of course. And then you forget you're 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not that far sometimes, but
well,
you know.
It just depends, doesn't it?
Thank you.
So there's okay, I'm reading what Jim is saying. Thank you, Jim. You're the best.
Okay, so Jim says, "You're welcome. I wish I could do more today, but the CNT auctions and Reverend Don's book sales, well, you know, Jim, I understand, as I am now the proud soon-to-be owner of some of Uncle Don's jewelry, or Uncle Don's mother's jewelry, I should say. Couple of pieces there myself." Go ahead. Sorry, Byron.
And Brenda wants coffee instead of tea. You got it, girl. You got it.
We can do coffee instead of tea.
We can do that. I could give you a glass of cold water. I could give you a little wine, Irish whiskey. You know,
you got any meat? You got
we're
any meat
on
in
the
those
hospitality
cabinets?
around here.
You got any meat in those cabinets there, Byron? I love me a good glass of mead.
No, because I'm the weirdest pagan you're ever going to meet because I don't like mead. I don't.
Really?
And everybody at every event goes, "Oh, but you like this mead here." Try this. And I take the horn and I tip it back and I go, "I'm sure it's really good, but I don't like
Not
mead."
for me.
It was like when Anne Rice was writing, and I didn't like her, and people go, "Oh no, you'll like this one."
No.
And so I would read it and go, "Yeah, no, sorry." So I'm the freak. I don't like mead. So all of you can have all of my mead. How would that be?
Okay, I will take all of your mead. And we have Vaughn, one of my favorite friends. Oh my God, Vaughn, it's been a hot minute since we talked. He says, "Blessed be Reverend Liz. I was trying to watch on Pagan TV on Roku. That is one of the many places that you can find this programming throughout the weekend." And let me see here. Oh, Pam Kelly doesn't like mead either.
I know. Pam and I are just the
Oh my goodness. Jim would like some scotch if you have scotch.
I do, Jim, because we do Burns Night every year. So we've got a selection of scotches, but for me, it's Irish. So
right.
I got some really good Irish. It kept freezing on the Roku, Vaughn.
Oh, probably. Oh man, let me tell. Let me tell our techno witch about that on the back end. Let me see. Mary telling us that Roku kept.
You second Scott. The last time I had in your house, Teresa Lutz, your husband stole my drink.
Oh, he did not.
He did.
Goodness.
I looked all over for it and I realized Duke had it in front of him. He'd finished his and then he was drinking mine. I remember. I remember Teresa.
An old Appalachian witch never forgets, does she?
Well, Teresa was wonderful. She let us stay in her little camper in her driveway, and we had a great time. Yeah, had a
I
really good
absolutely
time.
believe that, she says.
Well, and he
Well,
acknowledges it. I saw him in Florida at the
uh-huh.
beginning of April. I said, "Remember that time you did that?" And he looked puzzled for a minute, and he went, "Oh, I'm sure I didn't do that. No, it wasn't me." And you could tell he knew it was fun.
Oh,
Well,
man.
and this kind of camaraderie
Mhm.
is what I really want to encourage in the pagan community. I see it again and again at festivals
Yes.
where people get along, where they where we dance together, we sing together, we eat together, and sometimes we even worship together. But a thing that I think we learned here in this community in Asheville in the 90s, we
Mhm.
learned that often pagan people are not good at doing religion together. Our
Mm.
different traditions sometimes have very different ways of approaching the divine and
Right.
approaching ritual and all that. And we determined that circling together might not always be the best thing, but we could do things together like a food pantry. We
Right.
could do things together like adopt a city street and clean it up.
Mhm.
There were projects we could do together that were not doing religion together.
Right.
And that's important to remember about
Right.
your neighbors who chances are either were raised Christian or are Christian,
Mhm.
is that you might not they might not ever come to circle with you. You might not ever go to church with them. So you have to find the commonalities that will work to bridge those gaps. A lot of people only know the people they go to church with, or the people they go to school with, or the people they work with, and they don't know their neighbors. And I think it's important in these times that are our times that,
Mhm.
that we know that we know those people. And no,
Right.
we're not going to agree with everything. I was at the vet's office. This has been a few years back,
Okay.
pre-COVID,
Mhm.
and the man who was waiting for his dog or cat's appointment and I were sitting at a table and the TV was on and he was saying something about the state of the world and the
Mhm.
state of the country and all that stuff. And instead of assuming that he was not on the same political wavelength I was, because few people are, because I'm like left of left of left,
Mhm.
what I said to him was, you know, me and you and the receptionist right there, if we sat down with a piece of paper and a pencil, we solved that problem in about 5 minutes, don't you think? And he also did not assume anything about me. He said, "No, I know we could because we're all smart here. We could figure it out. I
There
just
you go.
don't know why those people in Washington, D.C. can figure it out." Now, our relationship was not more complex than that, and we never saw each other again. But for that moment, we had a commonality
Right.
that we could probably fix that problem, that we had common sense and we could
Right.
do that. So instead of getting your back up because somebody worships a different God than you, or getting your back up because, oh my God, in my tradition, we begin the circle cast in the north.
Right.
And you would not believe the people who get angry with me because they begin in the east. Well, if you are doing the ceremony and
Mhm.
you want to begin in the east, I am perfectly happy to begin in the east with you.
I've stood in circle with you where we started in the east. Absolutely.
Exactly.
This woman is not lying, people. I tell you.
No, but if I'm doing the ceremony, that's where I am naturally going to start because that is the way I have been doing it for
Right.
years.
Right. And speaking of which, I have my temple, the new temple of Janus. So it's based in the Roman tradition, right? And in Roman tradition, the day began at midnight, which corresponds to the north. So that's
Yeah.
why we start in the north. I'm glad to finally find somebody who starts rituals in the north, at least in my temple. In general Correllian circles and most pagan circles, east is
Yeah.
the quarter at which we start.
Because that's where the dawn happens.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
And we have played around with circle casting so that if we are doing a fire festival, we might start in the south where we place fire.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of that is symbolic. It's
Right.
symbolic.
Exactly.
And so we can share that. It's something that I loved, and I want to do the shout out now to I am so grateful to be going with the Correllian delegation to the Parliament of the World's Religions. That's so kind of you to let me be adjunct Correllian. I'm
Heck
really
yeah.
thrilled about that.
We do
But-
love you,
And
Byron.
I've done interfaith work with a group called the United Religions Initiative.
Oh,
Yeah, and their thing is you stand firmly in your own religious or spiritual tradition and you share from there.
right.
You're not trying to get somebody to come to your side. You're not trying to
One way or
argue
the other.
somebody that they're wrong. What you're saying is this is what I believe. These are the things that we eat. These are the
Mhm.
holidays we celebrate.
Mhm.
And I just want to tell you about those.
Right.
And then I
right.
want to listen while you tell me about yours.
That's great. That's amazing. That's community building. Oh, did I lose you, Byron? Uh-oh. Mercury retrograde, strike us again. Let's see if we can entertain ourselves for a little bit from the chat room over here. Jim, thank you for your wise words of telling us that that is wise, what Byron was saying earlier. I really appreciate that, and I do agree that we create echo chambers out of habit. And Pam Kelly, you said that we have to remember the Crystal Well book with the Reed of Witchcraft. I do not know that book. If somebody in the chat room could please tell me if I am still here, that would be great. Please and thank you. Just a quick comment. And we will wait for Byron's return. Oh, and there she goes. She definitely dropped. So we will wait for Byron's return. We are still sitting at $685. We are 6.85% of the way to our goal. Thank you so much. And we're just waiting for Byron to return. Thank you all for letting me know that I am still here. Woohoo! I appreciate all y'all. Oh, hi there, Mason. It's good to see you. I'm glad to see you here. And thank you to my dear friend Kai showing up in that green room like white on rice. Zoom. She's like, oh no, Liz is alone. I must come to her rescue. Hi, lady. Looky here. I can't hear you though. Your mic is muted.
I didn't want to leave you by yourself.
Oh, that's fine. It's okay. You know me. I was the queen of Gab for how many years? Uh-oh. Okay, so I have a message from Byron, so you can hang around for just a couple of minutes. In all the excitement from earlier that we were telling all y'all about, she forgot to plug in her computer. So it's dead. I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing at the situation because
I did
my
it yesterday.
right? There you go. I mean, yeah. So how are you liking it so far? This has been a very interesting hour and a half so far with Byron. She's a hoot.
Oh, I've been just chatting away, working on a prototype. I've been having a great time. Want to see?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see it. Let's see a little preview
Oh.
of what is to come tomorrow, right? At noon, I think. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, that's pretty.
So
I wish that you could just take a picture of it and slap it up there on the
I
screen,
know.
but I don't know how to do that.
It's these two.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Let's put up a couple of things from our conversational endeavors over here. So Vaughn says, sorry, I can't afford to donate, but he's watching to show his support. Vaughn, That is the best thing that you could possibly do in your situation, okay? Like your energy, sharing, liking, commenting is helping to drive us forward towards the goal. So that is just as important. And let's see here. Pam points out that diverse covens may well have diverse views of love between members with and with others. That is very, very true. When a coven, clan, or grove is visited or joined, one should discern quietly their practices and abide thereby. And also, let me pop up this link where you can discern for yourself about the Road to Parliament 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, whether or not you would like to give us a donation of your money or whether you would like to make a bid on one of our auction items, a few of which I see have a couple of bids on there. Kai.
I don't
Hey,
know what you're
Kai.
about.
I don't know what you're talking about. Go outbid her, gang. Give her a
No.
run for her money. No. Why
I'll
not?
just come back and bid again. I'm gonna be Lori
Well,
this.
bidding war. Heck yeah. And then of course we have Jim. Words of wisdom. So proud to be Correllian, and I'm ecstatic that Byron is an adopted auntie in the family. Heck to the yeah. This comment right here all day. I love Byron. She is like the sweetest lady in the entire universe. Like seriously. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I love to go to open circles or other rituals that are from groups that have different ways to practice than I do. I'm not offended if we're opening in the north instead of the east, but I am going to ask why they open in the north instead of the east. And I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to.
Absolutely. No problem.
And I think that's one of the biggest points that drew me to the Correllian tradition when I came. The fact that everybody is right, no one is wrong, and everyone, just like love, everyone loves who they want to love.
That's right. And, we each have our own preferences and viewpoints, and that's okay, too. In this tradition, that's one thing that I enjoy about it, too, is that everyone can have their own thing and still be. It's one big, happy, okay, mostly happy. Sometimes we have our disagreements with other people and other times we don't. And the times that we do, we just go, grumble. Oh, I wish we didn't have so many disagreements. And we try to get along. And then the rest of the time it's great. Go ahead.
I would be concerned if everything was happy all the time. That's concerning.
I bet Byron would be too, wouldn't you, Byron? Please tell me that you can hear us. Oh, thank God.
Creepy. No, thank you.
Yay, she's back. We got her back, folks.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. You're okay. You're okay. We were just laughing about it because Kai did it yesterday.
With the iPad that I needed to get photos for the telethon out to Brian.
We're just having a blast, aren't we?
It's all good. It is all good.
Yes. Stepford
Witches. Yeah.
Oh my. I don't know what that exactly references. I've heard of Stepford Wives, but I'm not familiar enough. But anyway,
what were you all talking about?
So
what were you talking about?
We were just talking about how in the Correllian tradition you can have like a whole diverse, wide variety of beliefs that you still do all the things with and still be Correllian.
Yeah.
And Kai was just saying she would be terrified if it was all happy hunky dory all the time in this tradition. Or anywhere, really.
It would feel suspicious, wouldn't it?
It would really, really be suspicious.
It'd be like,
so
really?
I've never seen it in my life ever. And any time that I've seen where something was 100% happy, there was something in that situation that wasn't right.
Yep, absolutely. Link is in the chat, folks. Give us a $1, $5, $10, $100 donation, if you would, please. Sorry, go ahead, Byron. I interrupted you. There was a little bit of a delay.
I was going to say that just like families, religious traditions don't always get along. And so it's important for us to figure out what the processes are for reconciliation.
Yeah.
and how we do that so that we don't do, as so many mainline denomination Christians are doing right now, we don't have a big schism. I mean, the UUs are talking about it, the Methodists are doing it, the Anglican Communion is looking at it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for any of those groups that they split up, but it's scary.
Yeah. I agree. It can be very scary. Let me
Mm-hmm.
see what we got rocking and rolling here. Oh, okay. It's just talking about tomorrow. Okay, y'all, I have to pitch tomorrow really quick. Would you guys like to know what's happening tomorrow? Tomorrow night, beginning at 6, the music block. If nobody
Yay!
else comes to anything else this weekend, please, please, please sit your butt down for a couple of hours or 5 or 6 hours. Join us at the music block because we have so many musicians lined up for your listening and viewing pleasure that are going to help us raise money for this telethon so that we can get even closer to our $10,000 goal. You can view who all is coming to the party on our Facebook page. So go to Facebook and search Correllians Live. It's the one, it's going to be the one with the shiny little symbol that's in our upper corner over there. It's like bluish green and orange, and it has the Correllium in the middle that says 2023 Correllians Live Telethon on the bottom. And you can find the image that is featuring, it says the Red Album, and then in the description it'll have basically everybody who's going to be there, what time they're going to be there, what they're doing, that kind of deal. And we're also going to be having the Red Album artists, many of them, on a panel near the end of the evening. So we look forward to that as well. Thank you for allowing this little bit of a shout out for my dear friends, and it's put together by my dear sister Ebony Nash.
Ebony!
Yes, I know, she's amazing. What a
Yeah.
powerhouse!
But don't
Reverend
listen
Sir
to
Ebony
Liz.
has been. Excuse me.
Come to not just those 6 hours. Come to, stay up for the next 45 and a half. 44 and a half hours, and until 7
Honey,
on Sunday.
Sweetheart.
Okay, no one do that, but
nobody do that.
Tomorrow
That's a bad
at noon.
idea.
Tomorrow
Be
at
here
noon,
tomorrow at
Sunday
noon.
at noon.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
And 6 p.m.
Yes, of course. Could you imagine if we circled the wagons while they divided? Oh my goodness, Jim.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Putting us right back into the heat of the matter.
Yeah.
What do you got to say to that, Byron? Oh,
I would love to see us do that. Circles on the ground could also be circling the wagons, I guess, but
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just vitally important that we figure out how we as pagans get along.
Yeah.
We just have to, because we need each other. We do. We need each other, whether we want to admit that or not. I came up in an age of covens, where there were big, powerful covens and traditional teachings and all of that. And I was part of a big coven for 10 years that met every Saturday night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For almost
every Saturday.
Yeah. For almost 10 years. I think it was more like 8 years, something like that. And we are so much stronger than just the sum of our parts.
Oh, yes.
But so many people have been so hurt by bad coven leaders and bad coven experiences. So, Jim, I love the idea that we can come together and really magnify not only our influence, but our magic and our power. And we can do that by working together. We can do more together than we can individually. Honestly, it's the truth. And I don't want to beat everybody about the head. Yeah, I do want to beat everybody about the head with it. That we can accomplish much more if we work together than if we don't.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Many hands make light work, and 2 heads are better than 1, as they say.
Oh, Cosmo is asking what books and films have influenced me.
Ooh,
and I have to tell
Cosmo.
the biggest, probably the biggest influence on me was finding The Hobbit when I was 9 and then reading The Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And that has influenced me for the whole rest of my life. Much more than that, of course. I mean, I've read a lot of, I love Hesse, Hermann Hesse.
Okay.
I've read, we had a big conversation today about Rian Eisler's Chalice and the Blade, which is a very important book. And
Yes.
we are talking about doing a book club to read Chalice and the Blade, because there are whole generations of people who haven't read it. And they don't understand when we talk about the difference between power over and power with, what we're talking about. But we have to understand that there are different ways to do power. And
Right.
that's a huge influence on me, that particular book. Tons of books. I'm a big reader all the time. Yes, Siddhartha. And Demian was another good one that I love. I'm a big Samuel Beckett fan as far as theater goes. I love
Okay.
Yeats, particularly beautiful in its prose and construction. So many. I don't even. I'm a huge Shakespeare fan, for one thing. I am deeply versed in Greek literature, particularly Greek theatrical literature. I don't know, so much.
So many
I
different
worked in a
things.
bookstore for 10 years
Oh.
and have been a reader since I was about 4. So lots and lots.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I would have to take you into the hallway and point at things. It's all Greek to Pamela.
Yes, Pam. It's all Greek to me. Reminds me of that one movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I don't know why that put that in my brain, but okay. Sure.
It's all
My
Greek
brain
to
goes
you.
to a cheesy movie. Byron, though, when you do that book club, I would love to be part of that book club. Please.
Yeah, I just don't know how we do it. Maybe the Paladins can help me figure out how we
I
do
got
a
you.
platform for that. Oh, look
I
at that.
got you.
Yay.
Zoom.
So
We got
we
you.
okay.
Okay.
Sign me
We
up
got you.
too.
Just
Okay,
give me a
okay.
call.
Good.
Liz, it's Byron. We're ready to do the book club. Do your thing. Okay, give me about an hour. Here's the first link. Let's go.
Good. Well, we will talk about that when we're not trying to raise money.
Absolutely. Speaking of raising money, if you are in the mood to be so kind as to do so, you can do so at givebutter.com/C for campaign/Correllians live. You can donate directly, or you can bid on any one of our auction items, some of which you can buy now for a set price. And you don't have to go to bidding war with Kai over there. Looking at you, Kai.
What are you talking about? It was somebody else with that name.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay, so we have about 20 minutes left. Well, 15 minutes left because we have to do a donation break after at the 5 of the hour thing. So what else would we like to cover within our time? I'm just enjoying all of this back and forth and kind of going this way and that way and this way and that way. Byron, I wish I could give you a big old hug right now. If there's one thing that I've missed in these COVID times, it's been able to give hugs to people.
We do an enormous herb festival every year, and it's happening this weekend here. It's the Asheville Herb Festival, but everybody calls it Herb Fest. And the best part about it, because I can get all those herbs in a lot of different places, but I get to see friends and hug friends, and we compare notes about what died. We had a terrible sub-zero freeze at the winter solstice, and so many of us lost so many things. So we're pack animals. I mean, not that we carry heavy stuff, we do that too, but humans like to be in community. And as I told Jason Mankey and I were together at a festival in Florida last week, and we were both saying that we were high functioning introverts, which means that we really could be on and do the stuff with all the people, but then we had to retreat. So I went to this herb fest this morning, and I'm speaking there tomorrow. So I wanted to check it out and do my shopping this week. I mean, today rather than tomorrow. And it was lovely seeing all those people and hugging them, but then it just got too people-y.
Right.
So I think we have to walk between those worlds, a lot of us, that we love to be in the people-y place, but sometimes we really have to get back and do a little hermiting too. And that's okay. All of that is okay. I tell people all the time, we are in such cataclysmic and chaotic times that we need to take care of ourselves. And when we're flying, and they say if we lose pressure in the cabin, the mask is going to drop down. Put your mask on first. I'm telling everybody, put your mask on now. Now. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. Rest. Sleep as much as you can. Rest when you can't sleep. Eat as nutritious food as you can afford. Because this is not a sprint. We are in a marathon, and it is a much harder marathon than the Boston Marathon. It is like the real original marathon. So take care of you. But as we also talk about, okay, I think I've got time for this thing.
Yeah, we have a bit.
When I do this at festivals and other kinds of gatherings, I bring people together and we do the belly basket, which is really a fun thing to do. You stand in a circle, or amoeba, because it rarely looks like a circle, and you reach all the way across the person on either side of you to take the hands of the person on either side of them.
Oh, yes.
And then you hold hands, and what happens is that your clenched hand is right up against usually people's rib cage, right into their bellies. And so we call that a belly basket. And I say to people, this is what it feels like when your community is supporting you. And then I have them raise their hands over their heads and put those clasped fists behind their back. And I say, and this is what it feels like when your community has your back. And I think for an awful lot of pagans right now, they don't feel like they have a community that has their back.
Yeah.
And that may be one of the most important things for us to do, is to establish, I don't even know how to say this. I got double Scorpio, so it's hard for me to say, to establish trust, because I might have a trust issue or two or three. But it's so important for us to trust where we can and have faith where we can. Because I loved what Jim said earlier about we circle the wagons while other things are dissolving around us, because it's time. It's time for us to understand that being the island of misfit toys is our superpower.
Right.
That's where we do our very best.
And the thing that I absolutely love about being from the island of misfit toys, if you will, is being able to identify patterns and breaking of patterns.
Yes.
I cannot tell you a single person that I have had a bad feeling about that I wasn't right about. I just couldn't tell you what it was.
Well, that's you using your intuition and trusting your intuition.
Right. And the gut, right? It all starts in the gut. Believe your gut before you believe this machine right here, because this machine will try to logic you out of everything. Most things.
And you can almost always, I always trust my intuition. And it doesn't mean that person about whom I have the oogie feeling doesn't mean they're a bad person. They just may be a broken person in a way that I don't want to deal with.
Right.
And that's okay. I tell people, my tarot clients all the time, yes, but you don't understand. I love him. And I go, yeah, I understand that you love him, but I also understand that you can love someone you can't be in an active, steady relationship with. It doesn't affect your love for them. You keep loving them, but don't let them back in your house.
Right. Love them from afar. I love you. Please do not come anywhere near me. I love you for where you are right now, not where you were 25 minutes ago.
Exactly. Here are my
Um,
boundaries.
right.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
it's good and healthy to have boundaries, right? And to enforce your boundaries and to say, no, I'm not going to put up with this. This is a line. You cross the line. So now you get a little pushback.
Yeah.
You
Or a
stand
little hex back, as I
or
like to do.
a little, okay. Well, I mean, you know,
But I mean, that's
I-
my thing.
that's another class, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hear you like to use marshmallows and thorns. Yeah.
It's a great spell.
Yeah, you'll have to we'll have to invite you back and you
I
can
told-
have that class with us one time.
Well, we could do that as a fundraiser.
Sure. We absolutely could do that as a fundraiser.
Yep.
But speaking of fundraiser, so we are getting close to the top of this hour. Byron, it has been such
No
a
way.
delight. You are a
It
hoot.
has.
I love having you here.
I love coming and talking to you all.
Yes, it's always a wonderful thing. And Jim says that gift of discernment is so real. And oh my goodness.
This is my favorite.
What?
Yeah.
This one.
Oh, go ahead, click it again. I always say people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. From Reverend Cosmic Eclipse. Yes, Vaughn, absolutely. Absolutely. And the moment you stop is the moment you know whether they are just a broken person who you might be able to help steer onto the, okay, we can be friends, but you got to work on yourself path, or the line boundary here, you over there, me over here
Yeah.
path. Yes, Jim. Oh, I appreciate you so much too. Thank you so much for your $10 donation, by the way, just a little while ago. Let's see where we're at in this 50-hour telethon. We have how many hours to go, Kai? You're the calculator counter person.
Okay, so
I just work
44
44
or
hours
I
to
mean
go.
wait 40, yeah, minus 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. So yes, thank you both. And Byron, give us some titles of your books. If people want to read your works, what can they find? Go ahead.
My most recent book is called Seasons of a Magical Life, and it explores all the things you can do for the agricultural year with children, with adults. There's ceremonies, there's poetry, there's farming, all that. The book I wrote before that is from Llewellyn, and that is Roots, Branches, and Spirits, Appalachian Folkways. And on September the 6th of this year, my new book comes, also from Llewellyn, called Small Magics. And it is a book of magical technique. And I don't like that it's called Small Magics because it's basic practical magic. And I'm now working on a book which is due to them in September called Feral Church, Finding Goddess in the Wilderness. And it is a book of goddess theology.
And I am typing this up.
You are like a crazy woman. And I want to always encourage people to get those books from your local independent bookstore if you have one. Second best choice is to order them online from an independent bookstore like Malaprops, which is my home store, or Powell's, which is a wonderful online store, to avoid the great river of commerce that I will not name because they cheat writers all the time. So
yes,
get your books elsewhere, my friends.
Yes. And you know, if they see you at a festival such as, oh, let's bring this full circle, Heartland Pagan Festival.
No, you won't.
No, you're not going there this year.
No, I'm not going there.
Darn.
The next thing I'm doing is I'm doing Rites of Spring at the end of the month. After that, Pagan Unity Fest. I'm going to be at Appalachian Summer Solstice. I'm going to be at Starwood.
Star
I'm going
Wood.
to be. I have to stop there, but I'm on tour through November.
Wow. That is just incredible, Byron.
Crazy,
Well,
crazy time.
well, but you bring books with you.
I do.
So if people just encounter you, they can go, "Hi, Byron. What books do you have for
They
sale?" And then
can,
you
and
go,
they can hand me cash or they
"Right,
can PayPal me, and I can
exactly.
sign their books for
Yes, yes.
them. Ha
I
ha
have
ha!
I have a couple of copies of your books that you signed for me at Heartland
At
Pagan Festival so
Heartland,
long ago.
and we
I'm
will
gonna
drink a
miss that
toast to
festival
good
so
old
much.
Heartland. Hey Jim, I'm glad that worked for you. You must be talking about the egg binding spell. Yeah, I'm glad it worked. It's a good one.
That's great. That's a great one.
When did you say
And
the
I
next
want to
one was
encourage
coming?
everyone, if you're a magic worker, do magic. Don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait. Don't buy yet
magic.
another spell book. Do magic. Do it,
Right
do it,
now.
do it, do it.
Right now, today.
If we're magic workers, we need to do it. And if you
Absolutely.
call yourself a witch, you better be practicing witchcraft or you better be shutting your mouth.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what it means, my friends.
Yep.
This has been great.
It
Thanks.
has been. I thank you again so much, Byron. We're not quite finished yet. We got just a few more minutes to
Good.
go.
Good.
So let me see. What is the best thing you have done this year to date? You don't have to say this.
Well,
But
I spent 2 weeks in Scotland.
oh, how was it? What was your best part of Scotland? And have you ever been there?
All of it was good. All of it was good except the
Oh, great.
flight there was ragged.
Terrible.
Flying is hard right now.
Of course.
But we stayed in a beautiful hotel in Edinburgh. We went to Rosslyn Chapel, and I'd never been there, and that was just glorious. Stirling Castle. I love Scotland. I love it a lot. Oh, and I guess I could tell you that we're in the process now of developing a tour of Cornwall, which will
really?
which will probably happen next July. And I will be leading that, and we'll take about, I don't know, 16, 18 people, something like that. And I love Cornwall, and I know it pretty well. I got friends there, so we will meet some witches. We will do some crazy stuff. Oh, the way they pronounce Ballard. So in Britain, they say Ballard.
Oh, Ballard. Oh, right. Yes.
So that was delightful. Just
That's
delightful.
awesome.
I love it there, and I love the food there, and the booze there, and the people. No, more importantly, the people there.
Right.
And then then festival season has started. I've been to 2 festivals in Florida, one in Tennessee, one online that I did, 2 online that I did earlier in the year. It's a busy time. People are hungry for community and magic and authenticity. And I mean, look at my kitchen. It's authentic. Look at these metal cabinets. They're authentic from the
I
1970s.
love your kitchen. Your kitchen is beautiful.
It's big. It's a great kitchen.
It reminds me of my great grandma's kitchen.
Oh.
You know, she had a cute little cottage and she just had the most rustic things and it was great. I was lucky enough to inherit her percolator.
Oh, you use it?
To make coffee with. I have to learn how to use it.
Oh.
I've not used it quite yet, but I have to learn how to use it because I was knee high to a grasshopper when we went out to the cabin last, to the cottage last. And that's the last time I remember it being used when I was visiting her. So, sometimes it's just easier to use the newer technology, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but nothing tastes as good as percolated coffee.
That's what my Nana always said.
It tastes great. I love it.
Yeah. So let me see if our next show is ready to get rocking and rolling. How's it coming? It's a pre-record, y'all. We're going to be listening to the one and only Phaedra Bonowitz as she talks to us about how and when to cast a circle. Let me just see here. I'm checking in with Mary Hawk, our behind-the-scenes technical person. She knows all things Restream. Byron, I know that earlier you were telling me, Liz, I'm so unsure about this tech. And I said, don't worry, we got you covered. She knows every inch of this whole back end here. It's basically her bread and butter. What she does all day, every day. Okay, so let's see. That's 42% of the way there. That's cool. So anyhow, let's bring up our shared screen again here.
Bring
and
up
we
the
can see-
board.
Bring up the board. Bring up the board. Nice shout. All right, give butter live display. Who wants to make the number go up? I will shout out your name right here and right now. If you give us $10, if you give us
$15.
$1, if
Give
you
us
give us
$15 to
$15,
get an even 700.
Come on, that would be fun. 7% in one day, in one evening, I should say. That would just be lovely, lovely, lovely. And we appreciate every single cent that we receive. And may you receive the magic in return, because that's how it goes. Push and pull, like the tides. So one thing that I wanted to comment earlier that I didn't have the chance to comment earlier is, because we were just kind of rolling along, is that one thing I think we need to start doing ASAP is getting over this money thing. Okay, we have this idea in the pagan community that I've seen, at least in the last 20 years, that money is no good. But that's why we're not attracting the money, because we're saying, hey, universe, I don't need this green, I don't need it. No, I say, yes, universe, thank you, universe. Every single dollar I spend, just like you said, every single item that you put on the cart. Oh, somebody donated. Hi, Liz. Oh, honey, I don't know what your name is. Oh, Jennifer. Oh, thank you.
Now
Hi,
we want 5 more.
Kai. Ha
More.
ha. Ha ha. You're teasing us now, man. You're a brat. I love a good brat. You're a brat. Thank you.
5 more.
$5 more. Who wants
To
to
get
make
us to
my
an
day?
even 700. Come on,
Let's do it,
5
folks.
more.
Just $5 more. So for every dollar that I spend, I like to say, thank you, universe, give me 5 times more. And that creates the push-pull. Just like Byron, you were saying earlier, every time you put an item on the conveyor belt, may this bless the next person who touches this bag of grapes, or this cottage cheese, or this meat, or this baby powder, or whatever the heck you're buying. And in that way, I have been able to really turn my life around. I am not the same person I was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Who wants to make Byron's night and give us $5 more to make it an even 700? Come on, 7 is a sacred number, folks.
5.
Give us the magic. Give us the
Come
power.
on.
You've got the power. Bradley Fosterberry comes through with the clutch. I love you, Bradley.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bradley.
Oh, thank you so much. Woohoo! We did it. We're over the 700 mark, folks. We are well on our way.
This is wonderful.
Yes.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Let's see where we're at now. All right. So I have been told that we are good to go ahead and roll ourselves out of here. Myself, I'm going to bed. I don't know about you, Byron. How about you, Kai? Are we ready for a nap?
Yeah, I got a show at noon tomorrow, so I'm going to sleep.
Cosmo,
thank you.
My God.
Thank you.
Whoa, Cosmo.
Can we make it to an even 1,000 in the next 10 seconds?
God, thank you so much.
Y'all, Deb
my heart leapt out of my stomach.
Deb McGinley can't see where to donate. Can we?
So
Can we talk Deb through that?
Yes, I would love to talk Deb through that. Deb,
Thank you, Cosmo.
If you would please follow the link that I'm about to drop in the chat, https://www.givebutter.com/c/.
There you go, Deb. Right there.
There you go, honey. And
share it with her
too. I did already. I shared it in the chat.
Oh, Oh, I'll share with her on her.
Oh,
on
okay.
Facebook.
Well, if she can't find it, there you go. Thank
Deb,
you,
we're going to
Cosmo. Oh
share
my gosh.
everywhere.
Thank you so much to the
Woohoo!
21 supporters.
This is
$820.
great.
8%,
Thank you
y'all.
all
Oh,
so
Cosmo, you
much.
came
Thank
through,
you all
man.
so
Holy
much.
cow. Bradley, Cosmo, Reverend Don, Kai, Brian's mom, who else has donated to us today? You can see all of that probably on the Give Butter page, givebutter.com/C/Correllians live. That's where all the action is. Go get it. And with that, I'm going to roll the credits for the moment. And then we will have Phaedra Bonowitz teaching us how and when to cast a circle. Byron, I want to thank you again. And thank you also, Kai, for coming to keep us a little bit company. Let's see
Thank
here
you
if I
both.
can. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I am going to choose the video storage and I am going to choose the number 4. That'll give us about 5 minutes. See you tomorrow, folks. Continue to make the money flow in. Blessed be. Okay, here it is. Yeah, I got to turn this one off first. Here we go. Technical difficulties.
You're watching the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. The team here would like to thank you for all of your support in assisting us in bringing a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois, August of this year. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist with the basic needs of housing, food, and travel expenses. Here are some words from the members of the event team on why it is important that we reach that goal.
One of the best things about Parliament is one of the best things that we need in our society, which is unity, compassion, and fellowship, which is something I'm extremely looking forward to. And I hope that this will be inspiration for the future and helping us to be more as one in a community. So join us, continue to join us. Thank you for sharing and liking our posts, and please continue to sponsor us.
Pam Kelly. I am a member of the Sacred Order of Paladins, and I am here to tell you about why are we doing a telethon and how you can help us. Well, let me show you. Let me show you what's in the future. This weekend, Friday, 5 p.m. on Eastern Time, all the way till the 7th of May, which is Sunday at 7. We'll be doing 50 hours of magic and community, lots of shows, lots of guests. But what is it all for? Well, I'd love to show you about it rather than just tell you about it. We are planning to go to Chicago, the Parliament of the World's Religions. It's happening this August, and there's going to be leaders from all sorts of faiths there, as well as leaders from both the Correllian tradition. Circle Sanctuary will be there, and it's the place to be. And it's a place for us to be part of the conversation. This year, it's going to be a call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights, something that's very important to the pagan community, and also part of why we're paladins. We want to defend people, we want to protect people, and we want to be there to show a positive part of what we do as pagans. So please help us. This is happening in August, and we're trying to do what we can to raise money. And our biggest part of the campaign is this weekend. It is the road to the Parliament. So like I said, we'll be around all weekend long with lots of entertainment and shows and ways for community. So you're invited to be part of that. But also don't forget to donate if you can. The best way to donate, there's 2 ways, is to go to correllians.live/donate. And here are chances for you just to give an amount. And you can give credit to one of our paladins here, or none, just give it to all of us. We don't get the money, but it makes us feel nice. You know, we don't have a competition going on yet, but who knows? But it'll be friendly, obviously. The other way to do it is givebutter.com, givebutter.com/C/Correllians live. And here, not only can you donate, but you can get some more information on why we're doing this. Also, where you can watch this on Pagan World TV, on Roku, Magic TV on YouTube, or streaming live on the web at Correllians.live. And you can share this. This is a good thing too. You can share this link with other people. Not only does it give you the opportunity to donate, but here's where we have the option. We're going to have plenty of items to bid upon, and you can start the bidding on Friday. It's going to be fun. There's all sorts of things. A 15-minute tarot reading with First Priest, Most Reverend Felix Coffin Williams. That's great. All these different readings here. Look at that chainmail pentacle wall hanging. Who would want that? I see a bidding war unrolling, unveiling, becoming a thing this weekend. A numerology chart. I don't know if I should look at this right now. I can't bid yet, but we will be bidding all during the event. So please join us and please donate. We really would like to be at the Parliament here, manifesting vibes and support the Paladins on our road to the Parliament. Thank you so much for listening and being part of this monumental effort and historical effort. So thank you. Blessings.
From all of us here at the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, we want to thank you again for your support. Please be sure to check out Divination Alley and get yourself a reading. Or check out our online auction that is overflowing with wonderful craft items, books, and services for sale. Remember, our goal is to raise $10,000, so please help us spread the word about the event, our cause, and be sure to stay tuned for more. So thank you all again, and may you all blessed be. Enjoy the telethon.
I'm back for just a little bit of time as Mary gets things ready for our next segment. And so I will just keep us all entertained for a smidge longer. Deb, please let us know if you have found the link to donate. It is also here to my left, even though you can't really see my finger. Here, I'll just gesture at it with my whole hand. Correllians.live/donate is one place that you can go. Also, we have this cool little thing that my herald Brian made for us, and it is at Correllians.live/see our progress, and it actually has this little progress ticker over here. Let's see here, share this tab instead. It has a little thermometer type of deal, but you can't see it very well, so I won't share it on the screen. Just go to Correllians.live/see our progress, and you will be able to see it there. And we're up to $820. Thank you so much to everyone, in particular in my 2-hour segment that was just previous with Byron Ballard. Was Cosmo. Thank you for your $100. Bradley Fosterberry for donating $25. And Jim, I can't remember your last name, Sayers, for donating $10. And I do believe that there were a few other people. Forgive me, it's not letting me scroll back to see all of you. But know that my appreciation is with you and for you. And I love you too, Vaughn. I've missed you so much. I hope that you've been doing very well. And we are just waiting a smidge longer, having a little bit of a uploading technicality issue here, but that's okay. Let me just highlight some of the people on our schedule that you're going to be able to see starting at midnight tonight. At midnight, Saturday, May 6, 2023, Eastern Time, you will get to chat with Pamela Kelly during the Witching Hour spellcast, which is 2 hours long. And then, speaking of Cosmo, he's going to be here with you all at 2 a.m. for another 2 hours with Crossing the Rubicon, which is his show. And then at 4 a.m. Eastern Time, live from the Philippines, is my good friends and amazing paladins, Rolando and the Kai, Apu Adman, Agama, and Lakai Alcent Agama from the oh my goodness, why am I blanking now? Thank you, Mercury Retrograde, for making me forget what their organization is over there. The Luntiang Agama Natural Divine Arts Shrine of Healing. I got that one in one. That's good. So, let me see here. And then they have a 4-hour block. So they're from 4 to 8 in the morning Eastern. And then at 8 a.m., it's time for coffee. Coffee time with Sir Brian Ellicott for another 2 hours. I will try to be awake at 7 so that I can say hello to Rolando and Lakai as they're finishing. And then at 8, hopefully I'll have some cold brew. I just made myself some before I began the last 2 hours with Byron. And then at 10 a.m., most Reverend Phoenix Coffin Williams will be back with the recording of himself and Christopher Penzak for another 2 hours. And then at noon, we have Correllian Crafties with Kai Aiden, Reverend Sir Kai, and that's for an hour. And then at 1 will be a conversation with Gail Tracy Mole and the person who just graced us with coming into the back area, Reverend Sir Mary Hawk. And then I myself will be back at 3 p.m. for another 2 hours with Belladonna Laveau, matriarch and archpriestess of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church. Reverend Mary, it's so good to see your face, my dear.
Hi, how are you, Liz?
I'm doing so good, but I'm about to go to bed because I'm really tired.
All right.
I leave the floor to you, madame.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have a special treat. I have got an interview with Phaedra Bonowitz to share with you tonight. So without any further ado, we will get this started. And thank you so much for everyone's support of the Correllians 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. I want to thank Bradley Foster-Berry for $25. Liz for 10, Jim Sayers for 10. We are up to $820 from our goal of 10,000. So can we get to $1,000 by the end of this hour? Let's see what we can do. And now we will get this broadcast.
You're watching the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. The team here would like to thank you for all of your support in assisting us in bringing a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois, August of this year. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist with the basic needs of housing, food, and travel expenses. Here are some words from the members of the event team on why it is important that we reach that goal.
One of the best things about Parliament is one of the best things that we need in our society, which is unity, compassion, and fellowship, which is something I'm extremely looking forward to. And I hope that this will be inspiration for the future in helping us to be more as one in a community. So join us, continue to join us. Thank you for sharing and liking our posts, and please continue to sponsor us.
Pam Kelly. I am a member of the Sacred Order of Paladins, and I am here to tell you about why are we doing a telethon and how you can help us. Well, let me show you. Let me show you what's in the future. This weekend, Friday, 5 p.m. on Eastern time, all the way till the 7th of May, which is Sunday at 7. We'll be doing 50 hours of magic and community, lots of shows, lots of guests. But what is it all for? Well, I'd love to show you about it rather than just tell you about it. We are planning to go to Chicago, the Parliament of the World's Religions. It's happening this August, and there's going to be leaders from all sorts of faiths there, as well as leaders from both the Correllian tradition. Circle Sanctuary will be there, and it's the place to be. And it's a place for us to be part of the conversation. This year, it's going to be a call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights, something that's very important to the pagan community, and also part of why we're paladins. We want to defend people, we want to protect people, and we want to be there to show a positive part of what we do as pagans. So please help us. This is happening in August, and we're trying to do what we can to raise money. And our biggest part of the campaign is this weekend. It is the road to the Parliament. So like I said, we'll be around all weekend long with lots of entertainment and shows and ways for community. So you're invited to be part of that. But also don't forget to donate if you can. The best way to donate, there's two ways, is to go to Correllians.live/donate. And here are chances for you just to give an amount. And you can give credit to one of our paladins here, or none, just give it to all of us. We don't get the money, but it makes us feel nice. You know, we don't have a competition going on yet, but who knows? But it'll be friendly, obviously. The other way to do it is givebutter.com, givebutter.com/C/Correllians Live. And here, not only can you donate, but you can get some more information on why we're doing this. Also, where you can watch this on Pagan World TV, on Roku, Magic TV on YouTube, or streaming live on the web at Correllians.live. And you can share this. This is a good thing too. You can share this link with other people. Not only does it give you the opportunity to donate, but here's where we have the option. We're going to have plenty of items to bid upon, and you can start the bidding on Friday. It's going to be fun. There's all sorts of things. A 15-minute tarot reading with First Priest, Most Reverend Felix Coffin Williams. That's great. All these different readings here. Look at that chainmail pentacle wall hanging. Who would want that? I see a bidding war unrolling, unveiling, becoming a thing this weekend. A numerology chart. You know, I don't know if I should look at this right now. I can't bid yet, but we will be bidding all during the event. So please join us and please donate. We really would like to be at the Parliament here, manifesting vibes and support the paladins on our road to the Parliament. Thank you so much for listening and being part of this monumental effort and historical effort. So thank you. Blessings.
From all of us here at the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, we want to thank you again for your support. Please be sure to check out Divination Alley and get yourself a reading. Or check out our online auction that is overflowing with wonderful craft items, books, and services for sale. Remember, our goal is to raise $10,000, so please help us spread the word about the event, our cause, and be sure to stay tuned for more. So thank you all again, and may you all blessed be. Enjoy the telethon.
Well, hello,
and good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been, we've known each other on Facebook and of course through Isaac for so many years.
Mhm.
I've known Isaac since the 90s, when I was in a correspondence with him when I was with Church of All Worlds. And
Mhm.
what a generous priest, what a generous human being.
Yeah.
My greatest regret is I didn't get a chance to meet him when I came back to New York and you guys are inviting me up saying, hey, come visit. And I didn't. So I
Yeah.
wanted to let you know that I do miss Isaac, and I just wanted to get that out of the way front up because
Yeah.
we have here with us Phaedra Bonowitz, a really badass witch in her own right, and not just attached to a beautiful soul that is no longer with us, but a beautiful soul that's in front of us right now. So
Right. Sometimes I have to remind people that I had a rep before we got together.
absolutely, yeah, you bet.
And so I don't forget, this is our book we co-authored together, came out in 2007, still available. The easiest format might be to get it in ebook, but check.
We'll make sure to include a link to that in the chat.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
So, I wanted to tell a story about in the 80s, I had a high priestess who told me this story. This is her story. A second degree priestess came up to her one day and said, I'm ready for my third degree. And the high priestess said, no, you're not. What do you mean? I think I am. Well, all right. Well, we'll table it for now. How about we take the coven out for a walk in the woods? Okay, sure. So they're walking in the woods, and at some point, the high priestess is like, all right, turns to the person and says, go ahead and cast a circle. But we don't have any tools. Well, what do you mean? Well, I don't have an athame. Yes, you do.
Yep. You have an athame, you have a wand.
But I don't. Well, actually, she said, I don't have a wand. You're in a forest. Look on the floor. Look on the ground. Pick up a stick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a chalice. Oh, anybody have a water bottle? Also, you have a chalice. Well, where is it on the screen? There it is.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have the circle. And they were standing in the middle of a perfect round grove of trees. That brings us to the topic at hand that Phaedra has come to us and asked to talk about, my lady.
Right. Well, I thought I would take this opportunity to talk about what I call the when, why, and how to cast a circle. And going back to your story, the interesting thing is that jumping ahead kind of in the story here, a lot of people have heard that you can do all this stuff in your head. You don't need any tools, right? That's true. However, you'll do a lot better job of it if you have a lot of practice doing the tools first.
Agreed.
And
also, if you're leading a group, the tools help the other people understand what you're thinking and what magic you're doing at that exact moment.
That is so true. So many people don't understand the purpose of a ritual leader is to get everybody in sync, to find ways to see that everybody's energy is kind of at the same place. And if you need the energy to go up, you have to have ways of doing that. You need the energy to chill out. You have to have ways of doing that. Something I encountered in the 80s was people had the idea that any change in the energy was raising energy. And it's not. A change in the energy can go up, it can go down, you can raise it, you can lower it, you can flatten it out. So to just learn to be aware of those different states and how you can access them so you're in the right state of energy for the thing that you're trying to accomplish.
Understood.
More complicated than it sounds, but it's also easier than it sounds. It's just something to, once you start paying attention, you can figure it out. In terms of when to cast a circle, I'm kind of looking at this more from the perspective of a solitary. Some of you have the privilege of working with groups. I have been privileged to work with many groups over the years. But now so many people through wonderful interfaces like this have found information, have found ways of doing things, but may not be clear on what is appropriate when. Something I see in beginner Facebook groups a lot is people asking, well, do I need to cast a circle when I do fill in the blank? And the funny thing is that I've been doing this formally since the mid 80s. I generally don't, but I do because creating that energy is second nature to me. So you get to the point where it's just you're doing it without even thinking about it, then you're doing it.
Well, first off, what is a circle? What are we talking about here? What do we mean by a circle?
Yeah. A circle is, let's call it a magical energy magical energy containment system. And you're creating a space. When you purify the space, you kind of bring everything back to neutral. So you just had a fight with somebody, you do your little brushing it out. So you're starting from neutral.
Just like in job, you leave your personal baggage at the door when you come in and do the work.
With my group, we do something that I learned 40 years ago. Before we start, we pass around a bowl or a serving of water, and each one of us washes our hands. Says, let there be peace between me and the world. And we wash off what is not relevant to the circle.
That reminds me of the Jewish, when I grew up Jewish, we had that hand washing before every ritual.
Oh, well, there we are.
Yeah, that's a ritual hand washing.
We take that bowl of water and put it outside.
Yeah.
Definitely outside of what the circle is going to be. Pour it out on the ground. We don't need this. For what we're doing right now, we don't need this stuff. Easy.
Hey, if you're inside, down the toilet.
There, just to get rid of it.
Flush that stuff out of here. I want to flush that man right out of my hair.
Yeah, wash the crap out of your, and and also it's a good, if you're working with a group, if you've got an issue with somebody else in the circle, either figure out how to leave it outside the circle or don't join it, because your antagonisms will be felt.
I think that we're really straddling the difference between a solitary circle and a group circle. And I think, and that's good. We should have those two, understand those two things are possibilities for any witch at any time.
Understand the differences between them too. So you're creating that space. We also used to say, when I was working with a group in Chicago all those many years ago, that although the earth is sacred, we want to remind ourselves that by casting a circle and saying, yes, we remember this is sacred.
The way a Christian will walk into a church, the way a Muslim will walk into a mosque, the way a Jew will walk into a temple, these are sacred spaces that have been set aside. As pagans, we can do that anywhere because the whole earth is sacred.
The whole earth is sacred, but we don't always remember that. So this is our clear, concrete reminder of that spiritual part of our path. To say too that all circles are one circle. So if you're doing a circle on the full moon, you are in harmony with everybody on that side of the planet who's doing a circle for the full moon. And that's to understand is it being intimate and bigger than yourself at the same time. It's not a paradox if you go up high enough.
You also may be, like you said, initially you talked about remote work. If I cast a circle and you cast a circle, if we did that right now, our circles would be joined by our will.
And one of Isaac's magical propositions, which I always thought made lots of sense, is the center of any circle is the center of everything. So if you want to send something, you send it into that spot and just say spot, you're going to come out at, it's like a wormhole. You can put a map of where you want the energy to go and put that in the middle of the circle. So, understanding it is a magical containment and reinforcer. That's the word I'm looking for, making it stronger.
Yeah, I think that I love maps. I mean, as I was, when I was in the military, I was a professional navigator. That was my job. When I was 6 years old, I had the map when we'd go on road trips. I'd have it on my lap.
I was the one who thought marking off the towns.
I never in my life, and I've been doing this since the early 80s too, never thought to have a map to direct energy, have the map in the circle to direct energy. That's bloody brilliant.
And it's like I was talking about, to do things Yes, you can do it all energetically in your head, but having that map gives you something to focus on, and not just you. Everybody's focusing on the map instead of, I mean, what we have going on in our heads, no matter how hard we try to sync that up, it's going to be a little bit different from all of us. So that's the beauty of using concrete tools and concrete visible actions. It helps us sync up.
Now, I have a question coming back
Mhm.
to the nature of the circle.
Mhm.
Is it really a circle? Is it, I mean, because a circle to me is flat. I mean, is it just, am I marking a circle on the ground, but,
You're right. And talking about it literally probably isn't as effective. We used to have we had a storefront church in Chicago, and it was a long rectangle room. And we would get in there, and one of my students used to say, it's not a perfect circle, but it's a perfect whatever it is.
the key is creating the sacred space
And
is the
creating
key.
that energy. The mind-boggling thing for me many years ago, I went to a circle, a spring equinox celebration held by Donna Cole, which some people may have heard of. She's a Gardnerian from way back, sadly passed away. But when I got there, I was surprised that, unlike all the other public rituals I'd been going to, she only allowed initiates in the circle. Everybody else had to watch from the outside. And she only allowed initiates in the circle who had an initiation of which she approved. So it's like, well, this is hardcore, But she was Gardnerian. She had her standards. That was it, right? At one point in the ritual, and at this point, I've been working on all this stuff for maybe 6 months. At one point in the ritual, she said, does anyone have any healing they want to have done? And as it happens, I had a little basal carcinoma taken off my back. It was still all scabbed up. And so I raised my hand. I think I was the only one that did. But I just wanted to make sure it wouldn't come back. Spoiler, it didn't. But crossing from the outside group of people into that circle, my mind was blown. The barrier was tangible. Being inside them, nothing else outside existed.
Mm-hmm.
And that really taught me what a circle cast by somebody who really knows what they're doing, what that can be like. It's just not a convention, it's a thing. And the rest of the story, they did, her husband was, I think he was a chiropractor, some sort of healing modality. And they came around and I showed them where the wound was, and they all put their hands over it. And I had my eyes closed and they were toning. And I got, with my eyes closed, I'm thinking, oh man, they got that candle really, really close to my forehead. Because it was like,
because you're feeling the heat. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a candle. It was her husband holding a big old honking crystal about 2 inches away from my forehead. And it was burning hot. And that blew my mind. When you experience these things tangibly.
Well, welcome back. Let's explain, my lady, what just happened. We were discussing the crystal that was on your forehead that you felt was burning. Mm-hmm. And then what happened in
the building's fire alarm went off, which is very, very loud and can't be turned off except by the firemen.
Plus the fact that you had to respond appropriately by,
right,
going outside. And
I had to stand outside.
Yeah.
With half the building is out there, and everybody's going, is there actually a fire? We do have false alarms sometimes, but it's fine when you have it go off in the middle of the day like this. When it goes off at 2 a.m, that's a little more distressing.
Understood.
As I said to one of my neighbors as we were coming up in the elevator, I said, I'd rather have them come too often than not often enough.
Agreed.
It's a building full of old people on scooters and everything like that. So you want.
It's a Nork. a natural occurring retirement community. My
Yes.
building is also a NORC.
Yes.
So we have a lot of things like that. Shall we resume, my lady?
Let me take a sip of my tea.
Understood.
I should have brought it down there with me, and I didn't. So there you are.
Well, that's actually a really good story about why we have a sacred space. We have that container
Mm-hmm.
because we can really sometimes bring up real energy
Mm-hmm.
that if it's not contained, it's not controlled. And that's one thing that I think is important about when I first started back in the 80s, somebody once told me the definition of evil magic is magic and energy raised without a purpose.
Boy, I wouldn't call it evil, but I call it a waste of time. Yeah.
Agreed with that. I mean, that,
Mhm.
I'm passing, that was the assessment at the time. And that definitely was part of the lesson is basically raising energy should have a purpose. And that is what the high priest or high priestess's job is, in my opinion, is to be the one that knows what that purpose is. The participants are raising energy. And in essence, I know when I do it, I direct that energy to the high priest or high priestess.
Mm-hmm.
And it's their job to take
Right.
all that and, in essence, like a spiral, just bring all that
Mhm.
energy together.
Mhm.
And when you're in that container and, basically energy gets focused to the center as opposed to just dissipated all over the place. If I raise energy right now without sacred space, it's going 360 degrees,
Mhm. Right.
times 360 degrees because it's this way and that way.
Right.
But when
Right.
you're in a nice container,
The circle is a word we use to describe this container, but that doesn't mean it's a geometric circle or sphere. If you cast a 9-foot circle and you're standing near the edge of it, your head would be sticking out of the sphere. So it's a concept that we use, but the shape can be a little more amorphous. Like one of my friends said way back in the day, it's not a perfect circle, but it's a perfect something.
when we had about 100 people in a ritual one time, somebody referred to it as the sacred amoeba.
Yes, yes.
Because, not everybody is in a, during these long rituals, people are moving around and
Mhm.
nobody is staying perfectly
Mhm.
circular.
Yeah.
So, and as you said, when we have physical structures that we might be doing magic in, it's about the space we're in, the container. And
Mhm.
if this container is a rectangular room, so be it.
Mhm. Yeah, you can certainly push the boundaries out to match the walls of the room. I think it's just what is important to me is an awareness of that, and to do it in a way that everybody understands what you're doing. And again, this is talking for more group work, but I have come across some people who what they like to do is they do something like the root and branch tree meditation, and they get everything circled and centered, and then they each individually take that energy and spread it out and make a circle out of it. And I said, that's fine if you know what you're doing.
Mhm.
If you have somebody new or not experienced, how are they going to follow this at all? Especially with their eyes closed. So I'm a big fan of physically marking out that barrier in some way where that it gives people their mind something to hold on to,
Mhm.
And
I
again,
know a phrase. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead. No, I was going to say again, after you've done this 1,000 times, you could pretty much do it in your head, but that doesn't mean you still don't need to make sure everybody's in the same space as you are.
A priestess I knew would say, we are now between the worlds.
Hmm.
Do you agree with that statement? And what does that mean
Yeah.
to you?
It means that some temporal rules are off. As I talked about, I think I said this earlier about Isaac saying that the center of the circle is the center of all circles. So you're in a time-space shift. I have been in circles that I would swear lasted 3 hours and it was 45 minutes. And the opposite, where I thought we spent 45 minutes and it was 2.5. So your whole sense of what's normal and possible can be shifted when you're inside that space.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a workshop many years ago, like a camp, and people were complaining that they weren't getting enough sleep. And somebody said, well, since there's neither time nor space in the circle, you could cast a circle and take a nap and there'd be plenty of time to do it. And I said, I don't think it exactly works like that, but it's an interesting idea.
Well, what about for somebody to sleep in sacred space? Should, they're lying in their bed or wherever they're taking their nap, and they just, cast this. Well, I mean, I learned a long time ago, just do this 3 times and I'm in sacred space. But once again, I'm a
Right.
I'm an experienced practitioner.
Right. My old magical group, we used to say, if one of us does this, we know there's a barrier there. And it's so tangible, but to other people, it would be like, ugh. But we were that in sync with each other in the use of the energy.
Mm-hmm.
I think putting a circle around your sleep is kind of sweet. It's kind of like, saying a prayer at bedtime or something. I have a little technical questions about if you're not consciously holding circle, holding space, if it's really maintained through that whole time. But if it's a nice way to just set it up and let it, drift away as it will, it's fine. It's not a if you really felt that it was holding the whole night, then be darn well better remember to uncircle it in the morning.
Well, that's actually a good segue into my next question. There's certain rules and best practices about the boundaries, who can enter the boundaries. Like, for instance, I was taught once a circle is cast, you do not cross that threshold unless you cut out. And I'd like you to discuss that. But that children and animals can freely go in and out of a circle.
Animals, so they're in their own reality.
Well, they're already between the worlds. Right.
And I think part of that is, just as I was saying when you're asleep, to maintain I want to say fiction, but there's got to be a better word than that. Maintain the fiction of it being an actual boundary. You have to act as if it is. And that means you can't pass through it without opening the door.
I believe the word projection or visualization of the actual
the creation,
boundary.
Right. The creation of that energetic reality. And it's just easy to let your concentration slip and things get messy. When I was in Chicago back in the 80s, I had a perfectly marvelous group that I worked with. And as the years have gone by and I've met other people and seen how some other people got trained, I realized how privileged I was to work with this group. And I learned so much. But we used to do some pretty intense stuff. And we could kind of tell when the energy was starting to dissipate and we were traveling back to ordinary consciousness. And then we'd say, well, now it's time to wrap things up because, we're, and I think that's something that I didn't previously mention, but is important too, is you create this space to aid you in being in a different state of consciousness.
We once said that when the rocks start hurting your bottom, maybe it's time.
Yes. When you start noticing the stuff that you didn't. Exactly. Yeah. It's funny.
When you're
because-
thinking about that job project that you got to do tomorrow, those are good times.
Yeah.
To,
I mean, I think it's important to have the concept that we have ordinary consciousness, which is something similar to certainly what I was doing while I was waiting outside for the fire alarm to turn off. And we have alternate states of consciousness, alternate that are altered, pun intended, that allow us to do different things. And that's one of the functions of putting up a circle. One of the functions of the leader of the ritual is to help everybody get to the state of consciousness that is going to be the best for the work that you intend to be doing. And back in the 80s, I did a workshop with Starhawk, and there were like 90 people there or something. And it was
reclaiming?
a day long.
With reclaiming?
It was specifically Starhawk. She came to Chicago and went.
Okay.
Yes. And it was a day-long thing, and there was a lunch break. So before the lunch break, she said, now, she says, I want all of you to dial it down to your ordinary consciousness. And it's not until we did that we realized, oh, yeah. So I like to keep that in mind, too. You need transitions. The casting of the circle is one kind of transition. The taking down of the circle is another kind of transition. And something that I like to emphasize, there should be a clear beginning. There should be a clear ending. And pet phrases like, merry meet and merry part, that's a signal to your brain that this important stuff is done. In my group, we say some different things. The late Sparky T. Rabbit, she said that their groups used to do head, ears and shoulders, knees and toes. And so that was to get themselves back in their bodies and back in ordinary consciousness.
I know that I've always had, I still to this day, that buzz you get, when the ritual is done and you're like, oh, I got to go to the restroom, or, ooh, I better go to the kitchen and get me a sandwich.
Yes.
Ordinary things. Driving home from a festival has always been. Can you talk a little bit about what someone should do individually after a major ritual, or just any ritual?
Yeah, even if it's a major for them, they're the only ones doing it. I think it's good to be, the more you have accustomed yourself to noticing when you're in different stages of consciousness, that's a big help. And I say this because you tell people alternate states of consciousness and they think, you're tripping or something. When you're in the car and you're driving and you get to work and you don't remember how you got there, that's because you were in an altered state of consciousness. When you're reading a book and nothing else exists in the room, you're in an altered state of consciousness. So we go in and out of these states all the time. So it's good to be able to identify them as such and understand what's happening. So one of the things, and I will admit I'm bad at this because my original magical working group did it very seldom, is to explicitly ground at the end of the ritual and, lead people in that. I forget it all the time because I do it out of habit and we never did it formally. And sometimes I need to. Yeah. If someone's feeling a little whoa and everything is formally over, it's perfectly fine to ground yourself by putting your hands on the floor or the ground.
If you're inside a potted plant, just soil.
Right. Oh, the floor is fine.
Floor's fine. Yeah.
Get down by your feet. I am not young anymore and I can't always do that, but I can still hold my hands like this. Let my arms hang down, hold my hands like this, and make a connection between that and the ground of the floor. Eating chocolate is great. Chocolate's a great grounder. You get that little sugar buzz and the sensuality of it.
And as I've said before, the one accoutrement that is always appropriate for your magical garb is your water bottle.
Yes.
Hydrate. Stay
Yeah.
hydrated during
Yes.
during ritual as well as after.
Right, right. And that's important to remember. I go to the people I'm working with now. We do generally do a potluck in association with the ritual, and we used to wait till after the ritual, but now we do it before the ritual starts. So nobody's hungry, nobody's doing that. You're kind of in your body and not distracted by any of those bodily means. Also, so the food doesn't get cold. But
yes, I'm one of those people that get a little bit testy, shall we say, when I'm hungry. My loved ones, they call it hangry. Oh, there's Eric getting hangry again. My mother did, my grandmother did. It's genetic for us.
Blood sugar's a thing, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so that way your physical needs have been met.
I think that brings a really good another role that larger rituals have or should have, and that's the vibe watcher. And whether they're in the circle, looking in people's eyes and seeing, are they connected? Sometimes there's a vibe watcher on the outside of the circle that's, protecting the boundaries, reinforcing the circle for the priestess if possible, things like that.
Yeah, it's very important. And again, the more people you have, the more roles you can give out. There's a thing. I wanted to talk about the quarters too. Why they should are often part of that. And one of the reasons that we call the 4 directions and the 4 elements is because by ancient theory, everything that exists is made up of some combination of fire, water, air, earth. And the concept is when you call upon them at the beginning of the circle, you are asking them to come in and be in that space with you formally. And you're also asking for those parts of yourself to be present. So if those 4 elements comprise everything, you are asking everything to be with you in the circle and your entire self to be present also. So it's not just, why am I doing this? The why is so that everything is there with you.
You have all the tools you need to perform the magic.
Yes, very much so. And
I also like that you have an individual in the circle who's responsible for maintaining that particular elemental energy.
Yes.
For the group.
When we had enough people, where I originally got my training, we would have people appointed as what we call the officer of the quarter. So the air officer would, yes, call and dismiss, but they were also responsible for keeping an eye on the airy energy and make sure the incense stays lit. Things like that, that it was their job to be paying attention to that thing.
Or the officer of fire. I am the officer of fire for the Paladin Order of the Correllian tradition. And if we are in circle, I'm maintaining the campfire or the bonfire.
Yeah.
I'm the one putting the wood on there, and I'm building the fire and also making sure that, maybe, if it's necessary, I might signal to the priestess that, hey, people are cold. Maybe we need to, do a little.
It can be that much literal, but all of these things are important for us in real life and in magical work. And
an officer of water might go around and say, hey, here, would you like some water?
I was just going to say, officer of water keeps you hydrated. Officer of earth keeps you grounded.
Yes.
If you go off way far, that officer of earth, boy, I had an interesting discussion with that just the other day. I have the when I can go very, very deep in a ritual. If I'm leading a ritual, especially if I'm aspecting a deity, I can go there. But I put the brakes on myself unless I know
There's someone in the circle that I trust to bring me back if I need the help.
I know that as a priest of a ritual,
Mm-hmm.
because I come from a matrilinear tradition, where
Mm.
the priestess is in charge of the circle, the
Mhm.
priest is supporting the priestess, and whatever your gender is.
Yes, yes. And I've
it-
had excellent priests in my day.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
in fact, my very first priestess of the when my very first time I was a priest in Grove, my priestess was a gay Puerto Rican gentleman, and it was beautiful energy. We
it
did a
works.
great job,
Mhm.
and the point being is that is something that I'm doing, is I'm paying attention and say, I've gone up to especially people who are aspecting in deity,
Mhm.
and would ask them, say, my lord, my lady, would you please check in with the physical needs of your priest or priestess
Excellent.
and let me know if you need anything.
Mhm.
Whether they need water, or they need
Mhm.
a
Maybe
lozenge,
stick
or
for a while. Yeah.
or they need a blanket, or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes.
Because when you're aspecting, you're not paying attention to the body's needs.
Oh, and I remember the first time I really went deep. Someone called me by my regular name instead of the name of the deity, and I remember kind of looking and thinking, I wonder who they're talking to. Because
Yeah.
my mundane name self was not there. And later on, I went like, whoa, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yes, you can go like that. And I have had many ritual companions and priests in my day who I would trust that I could go whatever. It's been a process here, and I've built up that I have a couple students now that I absolutely trust that they could do that for me.
Mhm.
But it's a school, it's a skill that not everybody has even encountered, much less be really, adept at. And
Well, we have a few more minutes left
yes.
in our allotted time.
Mhm.
I know you came into this talking. You want to talk a lot about solitary work, and we've
Yes.
done a lot of group conversation. I'd like
Yes.
to invite you to talk to the individual out there, listener, who is how can they do it if they're brand new, or if they're experienced with group? How, when it's time to do solitary work, what's the best practices there?
Well, for one thing, if you only know stuff from reading it, dig a little deeper. When the first circle that I ever cast, I was out in the woods, and there were a bunch of round fairy circle, empty circles out there in the wood. And I stood in the middle of one of them, and I had a little penknife in my purse, and I took that out, and I stood in the middle and just went like this around me. Now I would not do that. I would walk the perimeter. But if you look at instructions, that's an assumed thing. It's very seldom stated explicitly. Perambulate, get on your feet and walk around holding that knife that you're going to cut. You're cutting it with. You're cutting your sacred space out of the reality. And for people doing work by themselves, I would suggest looking at the two activities as casting the circle reminds you very explicitly that you are in an altered space, and calling the quarters reminds you explicitly that you need to be wholly present in both senses of the word. And if you choose to call upon spirit or deity, that asking them to help you with what you do is fine. Do you need to do a whole elaborate ritual the same way I would do with a circle? Probably not. And over the years, you may find that energetically, you're just kind of automatically doing that. But that automatically doing it comes after repetition in the real world over and over and over again. It's like
This
we don't think
reminds
about
me,
how to start the car because we've done it 1,000 times.
how do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Practice, practice, practice.
Yes, that's
Exactly.
kind of the point. The repetition in the Correllian training, where, when you're going for your degrees, there are spells you do every day. There's
Mhm.
creating the sacred space. This is
Mhm.
about muscle memory.
Mhm.
This
Yes,
is about,
very much muscle
you
memory.
know, so that I remember a long time ago, a brother of mine who I miss dearly, he's no longer with us, but I said, "Oh, I'm in distress. I need a tarot reading." He goes, "Well," he was a high magician. And he was like, "Well, I got to check the correspondences and I got to find out what time." No, dude, I need it now. And I talked to him, and I discovered a phrase at that point called the magic of the now. And this goes back to my original story. The high priestess was basically saying, do it now. Do you understand the magic of the now? Anywhere you are, whether, you're in your car and you've pulled over and you need a grounding, whether you're at your computer and, or whether you're in your bedroom or your favorite chair, or you're in a designated sacred space in front of an altar that you may have in your home. All of these things is the magic of the now and creating that sacred space for that exact moment. The correspondences are good, knowing if you're going to do a spell and you want to follow the correspondence, you want to know Tuesday at 2 a.m. is the best time to do it, go for it.
Yeah.
But there's times to be, because of scheduling, because you just have time now. Your child's taking a nap.
It's also with the moon phases.
Yes.
No matter what the phase of the moon is, there's a way that you can make that spell work. If I want to increase wellness while the moon is waxing, that's great. But if I got an emergency and the moon is waning, I don't call on wellness, I banish illness. So there's always a way to structure it to suit the circumstances you have. With the correspondences, I would hope that the basic levels of them we've internalized, and you only do that again by doing it over and over and over again, and knowing what would be an appropriate substitute for what. I mean, if I'm trying to do something for Mars and I don't have the Mars things, fresh flowers are not an appropriate substitution. And yes, that might be, but that's what I have. Well, that's fine, but it's going to dilute what you're trying to do, and that's part of it too. And some of that is, why didn't this work? I only changed these 5 things. Do you ever read recipe blogs? And you go down in the comments, and people will say, "This came out terrible. I substituted this, and this, and it came out terrible." So, and you will get that too sometimes with magical stuff. So I encourage people to think, if you're working by yourself, the more you practice acting out, setting up that circle, the more it'll become automatic. And there will be a point where you will do it and you don't even realize you're doing it, and that's fine. But don't push your luck. Assume it's going to take doing it a lot of times first. Well, and then, you've got the container. What are you going to do with your container?
Lady Phaedra, thank you so much for taking time out to be here at the telethon. And if you have any parting remarks, I invite you now.
I don't know, except like Carnegie Hall, practice, practice, practice. Also, talked about muscle memory, like tennis stars or something. They'll mentally go through practice. So not training the muscles, but you actually get, when you do something just in your head, you actually do get muscle firings. If I'm used to doing this and then I do it in my head, it's going to be similar muscle firings. Yeah. Oh God, yes. But if you have muscle memoried yourself into doing it wrong, doing it in your head for practice won't help. You have to have a down pat in the physical and then practice in your head. You know, riding on the bus, no problem. I once did a very complex set of rituals that had to have hexagrams and pentagrams and all different starting places and stuff. And I had a notebook, and I'd write in my notebook, and I would just trace that figure over and over and over and over and over again. Got the muscle memory that way.
I know that I'm lousy at memorizing, and my darling Arlene and I were at a thing where we were invited to do a moon ritual. It was a new moon ritual, and we wrote a beautiful ritual. And I had to go to the one of the things they said in that facility: no cell phones. And I said, well, I'm either going to hold a piece of paper, or I asked very specific permission to hold my cell phone up that had my, the notes on there. You know what? That's okay. Yeah. It's okay if you need reminders. But the key is you got to be a good cold reader. You got to have practice your lines, know what you're going to be saying, how to inflect it. So it's not
out loud, not just read it.
Yeah. That's right. How to project.
Oh God. Yes.
Theater in improv.
When I was in my training, I was married to an actor. And I learned so much crossover there. The thing is with me is I'm terrible at memorizing words. Just awful. So what I learned to do is improv. I can do any ritual you want on 5 minutes notice because I know I can vamp,
That's right.
And a lot of times, is it all written out? It's like, no.
One of my favorite ritualists, I think you may know Marilyn Mother Bear Scott.
I know her at least online. Yeah. Yes.
The best ritualist I've ever worked.
Really?
Oh my God, she is magnificent in circle. She just, and we spent weeks writing a ritual, and we're following it and everything like that. Then all of a sudden, she just takes a 90-degree turn and just improvs an entire new ritual. And I turned to Oberon, and I'm like, dude, he goes, don't worry, enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you got a good group, that if you take a turn like that, they can keep up with you.
That's right. It's all about good communication between the ritualists, trusting your priestess and your priest.
Energy, connection.
Perfect love and perfect trust. That's not just a saying.
No, but it only applies in the circle. Don't go picking any pagan that walks by you could have that privilege. My first magical teacher, was my first initiator. She used to say, she had a lot of things memorized, which I have limped after her. There's some short things that I remember, but she said, having something memorized is what you got in your back pocket in case inspiration fails you. And I have taken that very much to heart. There's a memorized chalice blessing that I know. Memorize circle casting, things like that. Sometimes it doesn't really, I don't pull it up the way I want to, so I just do something else. I improv in the moment. But it's
I think, and when I went to improv class, the most important thing I learned was yes and, not yes but. You never contradict what somebody else has proclaimed to exist in the circle. Yeah. If you are in a circle and you say tables fly, so be it.
Yeah. It's also read your group. When I worked with Panthea, public pagan group in Chicago in the 80s, we had a ritual once that a couple of my friends were leading, and they had imagined it and wrote it to be very solemn. But the room was just giggle fest. And they said, well, there's no use fighting against that. So on the fly, they made it lighter and achieved what they were trying to achieve, but just realized that fighting against that group energy was just not worth it,
And another skill set that I have as a priest that I bring is that I'm very good at watching the clock and understanding people's needs for scheduling. If we say, hey, We only have an hour for this ritual because there's other things that need to be done.
Mhm.
And in that vein, I need to say thank you very much, Phaedra. We have come to our allotted time. And thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege to have this conversation with you. And once again, after all these years, I adore you as a human being. You are a wonderful soul, and I have admired you for a long, long time.
Oh, thank you for your kind words. I always enjoy these sessions. Correllians are been friends with them for a very, very long time, and I support it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching. This is Reverend Mary Hawk with the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. That was Eric Hebert interviewing Phaedra Bonowitz and discussing circles. Next up, we have the Witching Hour with Pam Kelly. Thank you, everyone, for your donations. We are right now at $865. Thank you, Cosmo, for your $100 donation. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and I will be back tomorrow at noon Central, 1 Eastern, with my friend Gail Tracy Mull for Everything Psychic. And please stay with us. Pam is coming right